Hey Skyfares, and welcome to Aethercast, the Kharadron Overlords channel and podcast, where we've got new rules to talk about. All new stuff for KO. It's going to be fun. Lots of stuff to talk about. Joining me for tonight's show, I have Gerard and Max Bowman. Welcome,
Hello,
Max.
everyone. Finally, we have the rules. We have points.
Yes, we have
the wait is over.
almost everything. Pretty much everything. We don't have one or two things.
So, some of the regiments of renown.
Yeah. But yeah, lots of KO goodness to talk through, and maybe Alexander Korn at some point. Oh, he is awake. I have confirmation. So
he will drop from reserve.
Yes, he's flying high in the sky right now. Which is cool. Hi to everyone in the chat. Quite a few people there. If you're in there and you're keeping quiet at the moment, say hello. Tell us what you think about the rules for KO so far. Should we just dive right in? Oh, actually,
yeah, 25 years so far.
Yeah, that was 15 a second ago. That's jumped up. A little bit of an admin / pick of the week type thing. Matt, who can't make it today, if you want to get his opinion on stuff, he's going to be on AoS Coach. Well, he's been on AoS Coach, but it's pre-recorded, so it's not out yet. So when that video drops on AoS Coach, go check it out, see what he thinks. I'm sure we'll have him on the show again at some point. But yeah, go check that out when it drops. And of course, there's loads of other cool KO content out at the moment because that's what happens when there's a new edition. You know?
I think he's currently being invited to a Spearhead tournament.
Yeah, he's playing Spearhead, like a special invitational thing, which is cool. Yeah. And I want to do a little thanks to Goonhammer for their articles and that, because that was all really helpful before everything dropped. Everyone was like pouring through all like the Goonhammer stuff, and before everything, like things got properly leaked and then revealed officially. That was cool. Thanks to Zach for answering some questions and stuff as well at times. Things he could answer. Don't want to get him in trouble. He didn't say anything he wasn't allowed to, Games Workshop, don't worry. But cool. So what is the chat saying? Nelazar's played 2 games so far. Ironclad units charged 0 times. And some other people are just happy to hear what we think. Tommy Pickles, don't know if that's the real Tommy Pickles, has only played Spearhead, but it was fun. Lots of shenanigans. There are shenanigans for KO, which we will talk about in a minute. Cool. So, first of all, battle traits and battle formations. We have, of course, talked about battle traits before on the show because they were revealed in the Games Workshop article, but for anyone that hasn't seen them before, and also now that we've had the Warscrolls and that we have a bit more of an idea of how they work, and we've seen all the core rules, so we'll go through them again quickly. Flying high is once per battle used in the deployment phase, and it's a deploy ability, so it happens before other deployment phase abilities, if that makes sense. You use all of your deploy abilities first, and then you use other ones, which will be important for something we'll discuss in a little while. Meanwhile, here's Kron. He has just flown high in. Hi, Kron.
Descended from the clouds.
Yes. I don't know if we can hear him or if he's just quiet.
Alex?
I don't know if he's still asleep. While Kron is either waking up or sorting out technical difficulties, I will carry on just explaining flying high. So in the deployment phase, you use any deploy abilities first, and then you use other abilities. So this is a deploy ability. So basically, you pick a friendly sky vessel that is part of a regiment, so you can't use it if it's auxiliary, from which no units have been deployed. And then you pick a number of units up to its transport capacity. So if it's a frigate, you can pick 2 units, up to 12 models. If it's a gunhauler, you can pick 1 unit up to 5 models. And if it's an ironclad, you can pick 22. Oh, there he is. Hi, Kron.
There we go. Hello. You right? Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Issues sorted.
You haven't missed much. Don't worry.
All right.
Just done.
We're just doing fly high.
Yes, which and yeah. So ironclad, you can pick 22 models or 3 units, and you can deploy them in reserve in the clouds. So that's cool. There are some things that don't sort of work with it though, which we'll discuss in a minute potentially. Maybe that will get an FAQ to say it does work, but we'll see. The next thing you have is Descend from the Clouds, which is how you get that those things you've deployed in reserve onto the table, which is used in your movement phase. And you basically pick that sky vessel, and you can set it up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemy units, and then you set up all the other units that were set up alongside it. Wholly within 6 inches of it, and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. So, the key thing I want to mention about this is obviously Arkanaut's got a range increase to 10 inches, which sounds really good with this. However, the way that redeploy works now, it's just at the end of the movement phase, and it's not triggered by movement anymore. So someone only has to roll a 1 to redeploy away from your Arkanauts.
Yeah, all of these deep strike abilities, unless you have a 3d6 charge, they're a bit.
But even the shooting though, you could just move out the range of the shooting.
Yeah, you just redeploy. Have fun.
So if you do this, you need to deploy next to. You need to deploy within 9 away from 2 units, so that you can shoot at least one of those 2.
Yeah.
Or
maybe
combo
take
it with a battle formation and a warlord trait that comes later, heroic trait that comes later, to give you plus 5 inches to your range.
Yeah. So there's little things to think about there, and then the next thing we have is probably the most important ability that KO have, which is how transport works. Can we discuss this before? But basically, every time you use a move ability for a sky vessel, you can pick any units up to its transport capacity that are wholly within 6 inches of it to be the targets. And then after you've finished moving the boat, you just pick them up off the table and put them down wholly within 6 inches of the boat and not in combat. And then any of those units can't use charge abilities if they've been transported, but the boat can.
Also important.
Yes, this is a legitimately good ability.
This is amazing.
This is the whole shtick of KO now.
Yeah,
this is the one thing we have in this army, basically. The great thing is you can run the boat. You can now always run and shoot with units because they don't count as run. They don't count as moved. They just cannot charge. But who are we kidding? We're not charging with Thunders or Arkanauts. So yeah, you get a lot of movement out of your units.
Yeah, but basically, what is not a movement ability is piling in. What is a movement ability is everything else. And the units themselves don't count as having done what the boat just did. So you can retreat out of combat and shoot. You can run and shoot, as Max said. You can. The boat can charge and drag people out of combat, like out of the combat that it just charged into. You
can power through.
Just power through
and take units with you
out of combat. Redeploy is the big one, of course. You can redeploy the boat and then move the people behind the boat to make a 10-inch gap, which I think's been talked about quite a bit. This is good.
There's a lot of different.
The one good thing we found.
This is the one good thing.
But it's like 4 or 5 really good things intertwined. And if anything gets nerfed or FAQ'd, it will be this. Or the assault boat rule. Because this is going to trigger your opponents. And
if they are fair, let's say fair melee army, if you do it right, they get frustrated a lot because they cannot charge you unless they have a 3d6 charge. With a few have.
Even shooting armies will get annoyed by this. Because you can just pull units like out of range or put them in like out of line of sight and stuff. So it's
so you can do many things with this. You can the one thing that's important. This allows you to pull units from combat.
Yes.
I haven't found anything that says you cannot. It sounds very strong. Maybe they FAQ it. You can power through and take units with you. You can retreat, as we said. You can later we'll see there's one boat that can take them into combat by charging. This is any kind of move, and let me tell you, the 6-inch is a huge quality of life improvement. Trying to fit all your units wholly within 3 was frustrating and took time. Within 6, that's a huge aura around your boat. It makes it so easy. You can use this to negate battle tax. I just redeployed this. I picked up an Arkanaut unit on one side of the boat, set it up on the other side. It was on an objective now. I denied my opponent the scoring more by just doing that. You can move Arkanauts like 20 inches across the board.
We finally have like objective game. Like it's easy to move models onto objectives now, whereas before it was like, oh, okay, well if you use your once per game fly high and then get out the boat with 2 commands and stuff, which obviously doesn't exist anymore. Like now it's very easy to move the boat, get guys out, and just always like get guys where you need them under objectives and stuff. So it's really cool. Just want to pick up some things from the chat. Nelazar asks if setup rules also apply. Well, yep, the models are set up. So, if you transport them, you can't move them afterwards because that would be even more broken. But it's still very good, even though you can't move afterwards. And that's why it has the restriction of not charging, because it doesn't need the restriction added to it about movement because that's already in the core rules. So you can do a lot of stuff with this already. I have denied a battle tactic with this by they picked to kill a unit. I can't remember what it was. I think it was like a death one. Like they can just like kill a unit for a battle tactic.
Kill a unit that hasn't lost any wounds.
Yeah, and they were going to shoot it with some catapults. So I was like, well, I will redeploy my ship and move them behind this big bit of terrain, that unit that you picked to kill, and now you can't see them. A very common thing we'll be doing is something will move to 3 inches away from a unit to charge, and we will redeploy the boat that is 6 inches from the front of your unit. Even if you only get a 1 to redeploy, you turn that 3-inch charge into a 10-inch charge if you move that unit behind the boat. It's just very good. Lots and lots of stuff you can do with this. This is like all the shenanigans. This is if you need to be making the most of this. Yeah,
it's a reaction, so all the boats that move can transport people.
Yeah. And no points or anything, no CP or anything. It's just
it just does
an ability.
Yeah.
I am going to go out on a limb here and say, however, how good you are using this ability will determine how good you are playing KO.
I agree. Yes.
Yeah.
The army lives and
ways
dies
you
on
know
this
how to use it.
ability.
Yeah. Cool.
And if they FAQ it to be less effective, I will be very sad.
I think the interesting thing about this ability, We haven't talked about points and other stuff yet, but KO probably are. I think it's fair to say in a worse spot now than they were before, because we were like, outside that top 55% range anyway before. So we were too good before, and so you will be losing more games now. Even when you lose games, your opponents will probably still be moaning about this ability. which will be annoying, but because they'll be moaning about your army and they'll be like, "But you won."
Yeah.
So there's that. Cool. And last but not least, on the battle traits is Sky Vessel cover. So for all your infantry units that are wholly within 6 inches of either an Ironclad or a Frigate, not Gunhaulers, you get -1 to hit for shooting attacks. That time. So this kind of replaces the rules for being inside ships to get a little bit of a buff. It's
nice to have.
It's okay. Yeah. It's a shame that it's only shooting. But, I mean, I don't know why you would get a buff from combat, but you were -1 to hit for everything before being in a boat. So
cool. And +1 save.
Yeah, and +1 save, but they've sort of removed +1 save from the game as much as possible, so that makes sense. Cool. Moving on to battle formations. So we've got 4. Almost none of them were what we predicted. From the last show. Of course, we already knew one of them, which was the Endrinharness Guild Expeditionary Force, which basically lets you in the deployment phase, and this is a non-deploy ability, so you can't use it until all of your regiments and units have been deployed. Lets you pick a friendly, non-unique Kharadron Overlords hero and give them an artifact power, which of course you can't double up on an artifact power of one you've already got. But yeah, pretty good. The artifacts power are basically Burst Grenade, which lets you remove ward, Voidstone Orb, which lets you once per game automatically unbind, and
Mag Hoppler
mag
thingies
something
to reduce the charge.
Goblars, whatever it's called, which lets you reduce the charge on a monster once per game. So
interestingly, when we first read this, we said, "Oh, this is the one pick. You can now season your army to your opponent." Of the ones we see here, it's not my first choice. Maybe not even my second choice.
No, I've got 2 choices, and neither of them are that one.
Yeah, there's a few reasons. 1, because the other ones are very good. 2, you don't have that many heroes.
Yeah. And you might potentially have a unique hero, depending on what you're playing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very likely.
Yeah, we thought they were going to be Endrinharness Guild, Navigators Guild, Khemist Guild, but no, it was that's the only guild we got.
We did say there might be a Grundstok one, and there is.
Yeah.
I just want to call something out about this Endrinharness one. So, with the way I think this works, if you put your hero that doesn't have an artifact power in the sky, in the clouds, in reserve, there is an advanced rule in the core rules. I'm just going to get it up on my phone so I can read it verbatim. Here's my screenshot. It says, unless stated otherwise, units using or picked as part of an ability must be on the battlefield, which they are not, and this doesn't specifically say otherwise. So I believe if you put a hero in the sky, you cannot give them that artifact power.
Yeah.
So
well, then you put the other hero in the sky.
Yes, it's just something to be mindful of. And it's also something that there's another rule that where I think the same thing applies. So we mentioned the Grundstok one. So that's called the Grundcore Wing, and for that you basically get to add 3 inch to the range characteristic of shooting weapons for Thunderers and Gunhaulers. for the rest of the turn once per battle. Which is the first time I read this, I didn't actually know it's the once per battle thing. Which makes it obviously a lot worse than when you when you first skim read it, because
it reads like the one alpha shooting build. You want this, you want the extra 3 inches on that one turn.
It's good.
Although that list might not be as good as for thing that we'll discuss in a second, I guess, because you cannot bring that many thunderers from reserve. Apparently,
it's good on the turn you come down, I guess, or when you're that 9 inches away.
Yeah, when you really want to make sure to hit something, maybe something behind the screen.
Yeah.
The once per turn is the annoying part. Once per
if it was just always +3 to range, it would be much better.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
got its place in very specific builds, but
and also the fact it doesn't work on Arkanauts as well. It's just fun, isn't it? Because if it worked on Arkanaut, like if it's your whole army wide, there's a lot of stuff. There's Arkanauts and a lot of Arkanauts with 10-inch range weapons, where it would become a lot more useful. But cool. Next, we had the Iron Sky Attack Squadron, which is all the time. It's just a passive ability. You ignore the first damage point that would be allocated to each friendly sky vessel in each phase. So potentially like 5 damage over the course of a turn, but more likely 1 or 2.
1 or 2. So it could stack up to a few wounds.
I'd say if
over
you have
a game.
3 or more boats, this might be okay. But I don't. Right now, with the points, I don't think we're going to have many lists with 3 or more boats in them.
It depends. Are you playing against something that does damage in various phases, so magic, shooting, and combat, or only combat? Then, and from my experience in combat, they're not hitting the boat. They're hitting the other stuff. That's much less resilient. So it reads good. It's not a bad thing. I think it's a passive you just get. It could stack up. It could make the difference at the end of your game. Do I still have a boat or not? But not my first choice. No.
The thing is, if you lose the other stuff around the boats, just having your boats left is not that helpful. You kind of need the boats plus other stuff. Cool. And the last one is Aether Runners. They're the fastest vessels in the fleet, which lets you add 2 inches to the move characteristic of all friendly sky vessels.
Perfect.
So they've all got magnificent omniscopes, basically.
This is just generically good. Like, if you're not, I'd say as a general rule of thumb, this is the one you want, unless you're building a very specific way. 14-inch.
As we said, the power comes from moving boats with people. Now you get to move them further. It's an obvious choice.
Frigates at 14 feel good. Ironclads at 12 feel
good. It kind of does the Grundstok wing thing as well, because unless you're dropping from the sky, moving people further basically increases their range. I mean, it's 2 inches rather than 3 inches, but it's all the time, not once per battle.
Just have it, and it's it's fantastic. Having 14 inches helps a lot with big boat bases to get over people, to get where you need. And there's, as we'll see, there's
even though you fly,
get over
you
terrain.
need to get all the way over.
And there's even more options to increase movement on boats now. So having a 20-inch move frigate is nothing out of the ordinary.
Well, plus we've all been used to playing in a world where you could teleport, so suddenly dropping down to what is, admittedly 12-inch move on a frigate is good. Like, it's not bad movement, it's not 4 inches, but it's increasing it is much better. You notice it after being used to teleporting.
Absolutely.
My
first game was just so awkward. Like, I need to move like pleb here. It's like I'm playing peasant hammer here, like normal people. Why can I not teleport? This is terrible. How have you been playing like this?
You guys have been doing this all the time.
What is this?
Yeah.
No, it is. It takes adjusting. You need to plan accordingly, and this definitely helps.
Yeah, cool. So before we move on, some things from the chat. Mark says if he recalls, Drekki, Admiral, and Ironclad have the same issue with deployment phase abilities. Yes, I think they all do. Yeah, they do. All three of them, which we'll cover when we get to them. And then there's a couple of people basically just saying they want the 2-inch movement. They agree is the best one. So
Yeah, that's what she said.
Cool. So nice consensus there. Everyone agrees. Cool. So moving on. When you are building your list, you can pick heroic traits. So these are like command traits, but you can give them to any hero. Of course, you can only give them to one hero. But it's nice that it doesn't have to be your general. And you can't give them to unique heroes. So, so the first one is. Go ahead, Cron.
So yeah, your War Master General won't have this probably, but yeah, just give it to the side hero.
Yeah, so the War Master definitely will not have it because I believe all War Masters are unique.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can just give it to whomever you see fit, and I like that they're all basically passive abilities.
Yep. Excuse me. Sorry. So the first one is Endrinmaster, which is good just because that's a cool name. But lets you add 2-inch to the range characteristic of ranged weapons used by friendly Kharadron Overlords infantry while they're wholly within 12 inches of that hero. So
combos very nicely with that with the gun core sub faction because you'll have 15 Thunders will go to 15 and 23-inch range on their weapons, which you can't really redeploy out of if you come 9 inches away.
It's also just a nice alternative to using that one. Like if you were looking at it and going, oh, I kind of like that idea of extra range, but I also want the movement. You can have both extra range and extra movement, but just doing this.
Both.
It's cool. I'm going to say the best to last to go to Grudge Bearer next, which is a deployment phase ability. So this actually also has the same problem with flying high. Although you pick an enemy unit to be the target, so
it might
I don't think
work,
that matters actually.
You can,
yeah, it will work. You wouldn't be able to pick an enemy unit that is deployed in reserve.
Some abilities allow you to pick a reserve unit.
Yes, but this one doesn't.
Specifically doesn't. I know I don't know, somewhere I've read some army of the many.
Yeah, there definitely are some that say that
allows to pick reserve units. Yeah, maybe Firesled. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but that's worth noting if you do take this, Dave. So if you go up against an opponent that is deploying in reserves, that you can't pick their reserve stuff. But basically what it does is you get to double the damage characteristic of this hero's weapons for attacks that target the enemy unit for the rest of the battle. So that's shooting and melee.
Yeah,
it's not bad. Basically, you'd want to put on a dirigible suit if you're going to do it. Probably, he's probably got the most attacks to make most worth of it. Or Drekki, maybe. Oh no, because he's a unique. So
Drekki cannot.
No, the Admiral, maybe.
Probably dirigible because of the shooting attacks and melee attacks. So you can have damage 6 shooting and damage 4 melee attacks, something like that. But there's other reasons why not to take him. It's not my take. It's a cool ability. If you could choose 2, I might pick that one, but you can only pick one, and I think there's a consensus there. Again,
which is Fleet Master. Sorry, did you just say the first one?
No, definitely not.
Okay. Oh, no, I thought you were okay. Yeah. So yeah, Cunning Fleet Master is the one that we all think is the best. Presumably, do you agree, Cron? Yeah. So Each time a friendly sky vessel wholly within 12 inches of this unit uses the redeployed command, you roll 2 dice and use the highest result when determining the distance that unit can move. So those redeploy shenanigans we were talking about, you can now make them go even further. Get a bit more reliability.
More reliable.
Yeah. So instead of being like, well, at least it's going to be a 10-inch chance, there's a good chance it's more likely going to be you're pushing people to like a 12, 13-inch charge. In which case you're taking them out of charge range. So it's really good. And it's kind of nice that it's 2 dice and then you pick as opposed to a reroll as well. That's just like it's first of all it's quicker. Second of all, it's none of this like should I reroll that or not? Just pick the best. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
although I have
my topic.
Yeah, I must say that I have used it and rolled 2 of the same dice already. So I was like, well, I guess I'll pick 3 then. At least it wasn't double ones.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool. I think it's this synergizes with our best ability. So
yes, absolutely,
it's the best. Cool. And before we, probably related more to Artefacts of Power, Nelazar in the chat is saying no spell in a bottle in the Endless Spell edition could be a crime. Yeah,
that's what I hope comes in the book when we eventually get it. And it could like if there's something that functions like the Gargant's glowy lantern. Basically, you can cast a manifestation as if you're a level 1 wizard, and it gives you access to one of the manifestation laws. Because right now we're the only faction that doesn't have a prayer or spell manifestation access to one of them in the game. Like every other army,
not entirely true. We can access it through a very costly regiment of renown.
360 points for a little Idneth hero who happens to come with.
She comes with some Stormcast people, but I haven't seen their rules. But it seems like a very expensive tax to cast a spell without bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, effectively, if it gives you access to a law to take endless spells in it does almost give you 3 extra units.
It definitely, even 4, depending how many casts you have. So I played 7 or 8 games so far, and it's the way endless spells now behave, and the predatory ones are basically a unit that moves and can charge and has a melee profile. Your opponent has 3 extra units that you can recycle on top of his 2,000 points, and it feels a bit bad that we have none of that.
Or
he can just summon an incarnate. You just summon an incarnate. Yeah, it's not as tough as it used to be or dangerous, but it's a unit that can attack people on an objective.
And it's free.
Yes, it's free, and you get like 3 of them
and can come back
if you want. You just recast it in your opponent's turn even. So it feels a bit bad that we have none. I think no, there is no generic prayer manifestation. No, there's not, because there's also a regiment with a priest.
No generic prayers. That's only for like Fire Slayers of Khorne and Doc who get those.
Yep.
Cool. Let's talk about the Artifacts of Power that we do get, which, I mean, we'll go through these quickly because we did talk about them in the last show because they were in the article that Games Workshop did. The first one is the Blazebeard and Sons Drak Hobbler Mag Bowlers. That's the full proper name.
Why didn't you know that?
I couldn't remember precisely. Why didn't I remember it exactly? Once per battle, any shooting or combat phase, which is interesting timing. You pick an enemy monster within 12 inches of this unit to be the target, and the effect is that until the start of your next turn, you subtract 1 from the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for that monster to a minimum of 1. So that is impactful.
Yes.
It is. I appreciate the shooting phase activation because it'll let you shoot and then avoid a potential countercharge in your own turn which is when you're probably the most vulnerable because you can't redeploy out of range.
Mhm.
So you come down, you come in 7 inches away from that Gargant, you shoot him with all your guys, and then if you don't kill him, you drop this on the Gargant, and now it can't countercharge and hit you and kill all your guys, kill your Thunderers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I would only choose this if we take the trait that we can choose a second, because the chance to fight an army without monsters or just one not so important monster, it's too too unimpactful in that case. But it's great to have a second option to stop being charged on a second front, maybe, or different front.
You could also use it because you can use it in the combat phase. So you can use it to, if you think that they're planning to power through with that monster to then charge next turn, then you can do that. So then if they do that, they've got a harder charge after they powered through.
Or even just, it's end of turn, you combat phase, you shoot it. You're not even combat with the monster, you just pick this monster in 12. So in your opponent's turn, you're pretty sure that he'll need a 4-up roll for that charge if you don't redeploy, which is 50-50, not getting charged by a big monster.
Cool. Sorry. The next one is Celestian Burst Grenade, which is very similar to it was in the last book, except for now you don't have to make any roll for it. It just happens. No plus anymore. Yeah, it's good. And
which
the ward rolls.
In a world where everything seems to happen on a 3+ or on a D3 on a 2+, which is just a 3+ in disguise, having it not have to roll is a blessing.
Yeah, the amount of ones I have
there
rolled.
may be some complaining about things happening on a 3+ later.
There's going to be some complaining about things happening on 3+.
But also the really good thing about this is the ward rolls can't be made for the rest of the turn, not just for that shooting phase. So it affects melee and any other like mortal wound abilities that might come off like after it's been used. It does get used in the shooting phase, so it's not going to affect some abilities, like the bomb racks on the ships and that. But it's a big,
it basically affects shooting,
big buff
melee,
on this one,
and powering through, and Skywardens retreating and dealing damage. It is a fantastic improvement.
This is like the one that I think you pick.
Oh,
yes.
I don't know. Not as a generic. Again, it's this. What if your opponent doesn't have a ward save or has like a 6-up ward save on all their units, and that's the extent of it.
Still, a Gargant with a 6-up ward save is harder to kill. But in the last edition, I always picked the Voidstone Orb, which is the auto unbind. Now without primal dice, without all these magic shenanigans, one unbind once per game.
Blizzard
doesn't feel as
stuff
impactful
anymore.
It's just the
but
no ward rolls for that unit. You're gonna kill it. Fantastic.
Auto unbind stops the Incarnate for a turn.
The Incarnate needs a 9-inch charge anyway, so just redeploy. It cannot move one cent.
I mean,
so it's 9 inch away.
Most times now, people are casting endless spells. It seems, from what I've seen, not very much, but
and they're casting them in your turn.
I mean, it's an interaction, so you can use the voice in your turn, but you can't use it to dispel. Is the thing. If you could use it to automatically dispel something,
it's not.
It would be much better. But I feel like at the moment, unless we see the meta predictably having really strong spells in a lot of lists, it's like more of a situational one. Whereas I think you're more likely to come up against ward saves and.
Since they changed how some of the stationary spells work, in the shooting phase. I don't think this is so impactful because they changed, for example, shackles. In the shooting phase, they're not a unit. You do not need to shoot them with what's it called, the Overwatch fire thing, covering fire, because that was just toxic. Your opponent in your turn casts them 18 inches, puts them next to your boat, and then you can shoot those.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd go for the ward as my number one pick. If you pick the trait for a second or the subfaction for a second one, then you can choose during deployment. So either orb or the monster charge one.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. So moving on to points because points and prizes. Sorry, these are a bit small on the screen, but I guess most people have seen them already. So this is not just points, though. This is also what heroes can take what stuff in their regiments.
This is the frustrating part of the army.
So, I mean, let's just quickly rattle through it for the old podcast peeps. Anyone that hasn't read it, Khemist, 140 points. He can take up to one sky vessel in a regiment with him and any infantry. Navigator, 130 points. Up to one sky vessel, any infantry. The Admiral, 180. So he's an expensive boy. He can take up to one guild officer, which is basically some of the heroes. Khemist, Navigator, Codewright, and both Endrinmasters are all guild officers. So he can include other heroes. And he can include any Kharadron Overlords unit.
So multiple ships.
But
multiple
that excludes
boats.
Heroes in that section. So you can't just be like one guild officer and then use all his others to take heroes. It
is unit specifically.
Yeah. Brokk can also he's 290. And he's the same in terms of what he can take. But let's talk about that 290 points because that's a lot.
He's back to where he started 5 years ago.
It's like a yo-yo, isn't he? He just goes up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
At least he does more now than he did 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Still,
we'll talk about
he's good.
He's good,
290 points. But I guess we need to look at the. We also need to look at the Warscrolls. So maybe we'll talk about that when we look at the Warscroll. Overall, it's a bit frustrating here. Yeah.
Codewright
110. Same as the Navigator and Khemist in terms of what it can take. So he's our cheapest hero and joint cheapest unit, actually. Drekki, 180, so same cost as an Admiral. He can take up to one guild officer, up to one frigate, for law reasons, and any infantry.
But I want him to be able to take all the boats. I've had some lists where it's very inconvenient that he just can't take a Gunhauler.
Okay, interesting. Dirigible suit is 220. One sky vessel and any infantry, and the Endrinmaster on foot is 130. One sky vessel and any infantry, and then Arkanauts, 110 points for 10. Frigate, 320. Ironclad, 500. Endrinriggers, 130. Gunhauler, 200. Thunderers, 140. And Skywardens, 150.
Actually, why? Why?
The age-old questions: why are Skywardens more expensive when Endrinriggers are better?
Why am I paying 300 points for 12 wounds on a 4-up save?
Because they can retreat without taking damage.
Oh, cool.
Well, why would you pay, as someone's pointed out in the chat, for Brokk 290 points for 8 wounds?
Because he's on a free up save.
Yeah, he's got a free up
Knights
save, to be fair, but yeah.
Do you know what Black
Yeah.
Knight? Do you know how many points Black Knights are? Do you know what Black Knights do?
I don't actually know how many points are Black Knights. Do you know how many points Black Knights are?
No, but I think they're like 130 for 15 wounds.
Shall I look it up?
Yeah, all the
looking
cavalry
it up.
now has 3 wounds. It's like Black Knights are 160 points for 15 wounds. Yeah.
160.
So how many points did you say? How many points there were?
160 for 5, but they have 3 wounds now on a 4 up save.
Right. Okay.
2 damage and crit mortals on the charge, just like Skywardens do.
Skywardens get their crit mortals all the time. To be fair, not just on
they
the charge.
do. Yeah. Crit mortals,
and they can retreat out of combat at the end of the turn.
If they are still in combat, end of turn, they're dead.
Yeah, true.
Of course, Skywardens can retreat out of combat for free. Everything can. It's called power through with Frigate.
True.
Yeah, unless you charge a big monster that has more wounds than a Frigate, then you can't.
Yeah, well, don't do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to now compare units across armies without the context of the army. But there are things that are much better costed than Skywardens, definitely.
Yeah.
My main issue with the whole how list building now works is a 1-drop is almost impossible for KO because of points. Because stuff is not expensive enough to fit it in 5 units. So a hero plus.
You can. It won't be a good 1-drop, but you can do an Admiral and like 3 Ironclads in a single regiment, which
3
is
Ironclads and then a unit. Yeah, sure. It's not. Let's talk
not
about
not a real
decent list at least.
Yeah.
So you're aiming for 2 drops, 3 drops, and that's my problem with how the army works. All these what are called guild officer heroes, if you take them as a regiment leader, they can always only take 1 sky vessel. If you want to bring 3 boats in 2 drops, you need an Admiral or Brokk or those 2. And both are very expensive for what they do.
Drekki not being able to take Gunhaulers is very inconvenient for me. I've tried lists where I'm like, I'll just take Drekki and a Frigate and a Gunhauler with him and the Endrinmaster with not gonna work.
Doesn't work. So basically the hero is a tax to unlock more heroes. Of course you can play auxiliary, but then you're handing an extra CP to your opponent. You definitely don't want to do that because CPs are very
5 extra valuable. CPs because it's per round.
yeah, definitely each round. And and then obviously you want let's say a non-unique hero to carry the trait, because our trait actually is good. Our artifact is good, so you want that. For example, Soul Blight, I built lists with only they have 20 unique heroes, so it's a bit hard to find a one that's not. But I've built lists and I don't care because the trait and the artifact is not that important. The character is better to just take the character.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is Brokk is a War Master, so he needs to be the general. So what was he taking in his regiment? We'll see the Warscroll. You basically want him with Frigate and balloons because he makes them better. That means balloons are going to be your honor guard because he's the general's regiment.
But if Brock's
you don't want to pick 2,
then Drekki can't make the Frigate the Aceling, which then loses it out on all the rerolls.
No one cares about Drekki. Come on, it's just your hemisphere that cares about Drekki.
We'll talk about it in detail, but there is a place for taking Drekki potentially. I haven't realized
the whole. My point is the whole thing is very frustrating building lists, and it shoehorns you into specific builds that then on one end you don't really want to do because of disadvantages that you get. Your opponent now has all the balloons in the general's regiment for his honor guard to target with extra rend or +1 to hit and wound. So you want to actually only have 1 extra unit in the general's regiment. But then the other hero that is not unique, he can only take one Skyvessel. So you can be free drops. You need another hero. Points are already tight, so you're gonna spend another tax points on a hero to unlock the next Skyvessel. It's just it's terrible.
I mean, 2 drops isn't so bad. Most armies will be 2 drops in this game, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's my issue. Then I need a general or Brokk to take 3 boats in a 2 drop.
Yeah. Well, you take
KO still sit in the same space, but they can't be doubled.
Yeah, but I don't want to take an Admiral because he's 180 points for what? For T6 extra score.
He gives you he combos nicely with the Ironclad, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to take an Ironclad. I want to take frigates.
Oh.
Frigates are so much better.
Do you think the frustrating is part of list building is just KO, or is it the new style of list building in general?
It's also a bit frustrating for our armies. Definitely, the whole system is a bit getting used to. But especially because we have a very limited roster, so we only have these few heroes and these few units.
Putting on
it gets more complicated.
Chat, it's pretty frustrating there as well. The heroes to unlock things. You really want lots of wizards, but you can't get lots of wizards, and
So it's a similar issue here. You want boats, but you need that hero, and he's just attacks that you don't want. Then you want to take the cheap hero, which is the Codewright, but that's just 110 points for a free up roll for nothing. It's the whole thing is a bit frustrating. And I think across the board, in my opinion, stuff is too expensive. What business has a Gunhauler at 200 points?
Why? What in that Warscrolls at 200 points?
Like he cannot carry 6 Endrinriggers. He cannot carry a hero plus Thunderers. It's just 5 people. So Thunderers, 5 Thunderers or 3 balloons. What are you doing there?
Or a hero.
Yeah, or a single hero.
Are you allowed to still take less than you bought? Like, can you take 5 riggers if you pay for 6?
I think there's a core rule that says no.
I tried to find it. I'm pretty sure you can't.
I'm imagining or believing.
Well, the point is there's nothing saying you can, and there's like all units now says like this unit is this many models, and if you reinforce it, then it's double the number of models. There was there used to be a rule ages ago that said like, oh, if you don't have enough models, you could just fill them with less in, and that they got rid of that. So,
I believe I read somewhere
that
they cannot do it. Yeah, already last edition.
Yeah,
they said under strength units are not allowed. Yeah.
Well, it was like 0 to 1 on the fourth unit.
But all right, shall we look at Warscrolls?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to say one thing about list building, which is I think the more frustrating part about it is we were told all the positive things about it beforehand, which was like, oh, you don't need battle line anymore, and we're getting rid of behemoths and like the limits on heroes and stuff. So on the one hand, they have made it less restrictive, but then they added a whole bunch of other new restrictions that are actually more restrictive.
Yeah, we were very positive when we saw Warscrolls and abilities, and then they dropped the points.
The
a bit.
But points on the positive note, I guess. Points can change. Like we were bad now. They're bad now, but that can be very easy.
We don't know.
Fix it up.
We had the rules for a week. It's a bit early to say bad.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
it's challenging. Let's say that way. It looks challenging.
Right, Warscrolls.
Warscrolls.
So, first off, Brokk, 290 points, 8 wounds, or HP now, as it's called.
Health,
12-inch move, 3+ save, 2 control score, 1 18-inch shot, hits on a 3, wounds on a 2, -2 rend, D3 +3. So,
same as before.
Good shot. The magnetic shot, 12-inch shot is 6 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 2 damage and shooting combat. So yeah, basically carbines. I think his shooting, other than the range on his boast, is actually better than the frigate now. It just is.
He always been better than the frigate.
Yeah.
Both used to be 18.
Mm-hmm.
His
Yeah,
shooting is very good. It
Yeah.
was very good. It's still good.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a frigate just for the guns, take this guy instead.
Yeah, it's 30 points cheaper.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Yeah. And his saw now always has 5 attacks. So used to be 4, and when he charged an extra attack, now it's just base 5 attacks. But wounding and freeze. So also the heroes now freeze and freeze. Rend 2 and flat 2 damage. So they got rid of the D3 for him, which I think is an improvement. It's good.
It's weird they haven't done it on the Endrinriggers, but
no,
it is what it is. So abilities is where it's at though. Heroes generally, unless they're like big monster heroes, which none of us are. So his first rule of Grungy is you pick 2 other friendly Skyfarer units within his combat range, so within 3 inches of him, the targets, and you get to add 1 to the attacks characteristic of their melee weapons for the rest of the turn, and you do that in the combat phase.
Great.
It makes
so let's talk about this. It's only 2 units. It used to be everyone in a range, but only if he charged. Now he doesn't even need to charge. It's any combat phase, even opponent's combat phase. And he doesn't need to be in combat anyway. He just can stand behind them. You and you. He has an extra attack. And this is the whole point where you might think or consider to include him in a, let's say, melee-based list. Because he gives an extra attack on good melee weapons. The rest is... So, the next ability, the mustache-mounted Ether Blasters. It's still a few mortal wounds, but it's now end of turn. It's neat. Okay.
Run and charge on the frigate is nice.
Yeah, but it's once per battle, and that's my issue with it.
But I think you only need it once per battle, really. Once in that first turn to get in, and after that, you'll probably be close enough to get wherever you need to with a 14-inch move anyway.
Maybe. It's cool. It's free visible units wholly in 24.
It's kind of hard to get 3 Skyvessels in when you've got 290 points spent on him.
Yeah.
And then you also want to get the balloon boys and stuff. Yeah,
it's possible. A bit of my issue with his rule, so the one that gives an extra attack, is it's 2 units. He needs to be close to them, but the frigate only brings 2 units.
2 units. Yeah.
So where does he go?
He runs up behind it.
Yeah, he runs up behind it. So he moves. Then the opponent does it. They redeploy. Then you need to make the charge. And you want to be within 3 inches of the opponent with your balloons. Yeah, you can still go 3 inch in, but still, it's like he could easily be out of range unless he makes a charge.
Yeah. All the balloons run up behind the ship, and he runs up in front of the ship.
And he won't be able to have run and charge by himself. And if he gets transported by another boat, he won't be shooting either. He won't be charging either. So it's
definitely possible. I've done it. Just moved him 3 inches in front of the opponent, as you said, and then the boat brought up the people. But it's a bit of a nombo with the boat. It can only bring 2 units.
Take 2
What do you think about defensively? So if they're sitting behind a screen, they charge the screen, and then they're in combat with him and the 2 units. And
so 2 units, the screen that can survive until the
screen doesn't need to survive.
Thunderers. Well, then why am I giving him an extra attack? The screen, if it doesn't.
No, you don't give the screen an attack. Say you've got a unit of Arkanauts, you've got 2 units of balloon and him behind, and they're all on an objective. So if they want the objective, they've got to charge the Arkanauts, and then they're in combat with the.
Yeah, but then they can hit the balloons because 3 inches, and then the balloons are dead. And what are they doing with the extra attack? Yeah. That's because of now the whole thing staying behind your screen and tagging someone in combat. It's useless because everyone has 3 inch range now.
Yeah, true.
It's very annoying.
Yeah, I'd make old edition head on there.
It's that's my issue with him and his points. Apart from that, he's a good unit. He's fighty. He's a survivable fighty hero. He's good shooting, and good melee.
It feels like this ability needed to either just be like you pick one unit and you get extra range on it, or it's like it's a tight range, but it's just all units or something.
Yeah, it's a bit.
3
I
inches
like
is
it.
difficult.
I like it. It's okay, but it doesn't combine well with frigates.
But that's if you want to play melee, that's you want to play
play
frigates. That's the problem, isn't it? So,
Yeah, so you bring an extra frigates with 6 balloons, and him, and then the second frigate with 2 times 6 balloons, and then they all charge in, and then he has 2 units near him. My concern is when we look at balloon lists, balloon Warscrolls, he gives an extra attack, so an extra 6 attack, let's say, for 290 points, for 280 or 260. I can buy myself
extra 7 attacks.
18,
No,
18 extra attacks.
6, they have 3 attacks now.
So
there's 19.
yeah,
The leader gets an extra one.
So I can buy 19 attacks for less points.
Yeah,
every turn.
And you get more wounds.
Yeah, on more wounds.
Oh, admittedly on a 4-up, but
yeah. So the reason could be you want the extra attack. Maybe the reason is you need to unlock the regiment with him because he can take everything. But it's a bit of probably not worth it.
Yeah, you do get the run and charge as well.
Yes, the run and charge, but as we have seen, we can move boats with a run easily 28 inches. And the board is just as a certain distance. So there's only so far you can run.
Your opponents are probably coming towards you anyway.
Yeah, well, they're coming towards the objectives, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. The Endrinmaster, who is 220, flying one. His big gun is 18 inches, basically the same as Brokk's, but only 3 damage, not D3 plus 3.
Yeah, but flat 3. It used to be D3, I think.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Cool. Yeah. And then his short range guns are the same, but 1 damage. So, and then he has 4 attacks on his saws rather than 5.
The upgraded saw. It has a new name. It's not Aethermatic saw, but it's the upgraded Aethermatic saw. So this guy we said is good with the grudge bearer. So he gets a 1 damage 6 shot at 2 rend, and 6 damage 2 shots, and some damage 4 melee attacks.
I mean, a damage 6 shot is pretty crazy. Like,
it's pretty cool. It's cool. And he has he kept his abilities. I was surprised that he kept both abilities. So one is he just picks a unit on a 2+, heals free. So you need to roll a dice actually. But here free on 2+, it's not bad.
It's nice it's free as well, not D3.
Yeah, and the passive ability. So when Endrinriggers do field repairs, which we'll get to, he can add a dice. Basically, it's the same as it used to be.
Yeah,
just end of turn instead of any phase. My issue with him, and this is a theme for the show tonight, I have issues with all of these people. My issue with him is 220 points.
Yeah,
there's
nothing really on there.
And what you get extra healing basically for boats. And if you bring him, you want to bring Endrinriggers because they benefit from him. And in that case, as I said, people will not attack the boat. People will attack the balloons, and the boat on its own will not do much. And so it's a bit of a not as important ability. So why would I pay 220 points for him?
Yeah, and we haven't got to the Endrinriggers yet, but the Endrinriggers healing's got nerfed a bit. So
yeah, because it's just end of turn instead of each phase. It's still good, especially with moving out with power through, and then also end of turn healing up the boat if it took damage. It's okay. It's a good ability. but I would not pay 220 points to get him in the list.
No.
No, not for that much.
Sad times, because I haven't played him since I think 2nd edition.
No, and annoyingly, I have 2 of him painted, but well, I don't think he's going to be sitting on the table for me. Okay, so moving on, we have the Admiral and the Navigator. So we'll do the Admiral first. 6 wounds, 3 up save, 4-inch move, controls 2. His volley pistols now got 10-inch range because it used to be 9. 3 attacks, freeze, -1 rend, 2 damage with shooting combat. Because that's generally the way they're doing things. It's pistols, so got shooting combat. It's good. His hammer is still 3 attacks, freeze 2s, -1 rend. I think it used to be -2. So did it used to be -2? It doesn't matter. It's -1. That's what it is. And flat damage free.
It used to be. Used to be -2, so he lost a rend. Yep.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, so he's lost a rend, but I mean,
lost a rend, gained some points. So
and he has 3 abilities. So the first one is you use it in your hero phase, and you get to add D6 to the control score for a unit of Arkanauts within wholly within 12 inches. Until the start of your next turn, which is not bad. It's okay.
No. It's okay.
It's not amazing. This is like a bonus ability. Like if you don't take him for this, just the fact that he does it is.
You will not take him for this, but it's a good ability if you want to do, for example, the battle tactic, take their lands, and there's a unit of 10 models near that terrain piece, and you can move both Arkanauts over. Now they're going to be 11 or 16, depending on what you roll, and they're going to take that terrain piece from them. So I've done that in my game, and it was useful. It was useful. It's nice to have. It's a good thing. Sure.
I've had it already where I've rolled a 6 for it, and my opponent killed all of the Arkanauts except for 2. And so that kept me holding the objective, that extra 6, because those 2 little models were counting as 8.
Yeah.
So that was quite cool.
Yeah, sure. So it allows you
you'll get times where it doesn't do anything.
Steal objectives maybe from a monster or something, but it's as you said, it's not the reason you take him.
No. And then his other 2 abilities are once per battle. One of them is in the deployment phase. Lets you pick an Ironclad or Frigate to be the target. Whichever one you pick, for the rest of the battle, each time the target uses all-out attack command while he's holding within 12, no command points are spent. So,
which is just 1 free CP a turn.
It's
and
really good.
It means you can give General's Regiment bonuses to something that isn't the Ironclad, because it's already getting 2s to hit.
It can't be used if you put that ship in the sky, because it's deployment phase ability.
So it's basically wants you to take him in an Ironclad, because it's the most effective on an Ironclad.
It does, especially with his other ability as well.
Since it is an all-out attack command, so you cannot issue 2 all-out attack commands in the same phase. Just for this one, you get it for free. So if you're going to do it, you want to use it, and so you're going to take an Ironclad with him. So it's a bit of what I said, they're pushing you towards a direction. Take him and an Ironclad, which is already 680 points.
I guess you can take him with a Frigate, and it's not bad putting all that attack on a Frigate.
Yeah,
it's
but
not. It's not.
It's still free, isn't it? And to be honest, I don't think we're going to be using all that. Depending on your list, you might not be using all that attack that much, because you'll be saving CP for other things. Potentially.
Now, if we get to his next ability, you see why you want to take an Ironclad with him.
So it's once per battle, army. So two admirals doesn't do anything for you.
Same with the last one as well. To mention that,
and it's pick a friendly sky vessel hollow within 24. That isn't in combat, and you add 1 to the attack's characteristic. So it's the bring every gun to bear from last book, but now if you can do it even when the Ironclad moves, and it may three shots on the main Ironclad's cannon or heavy skyhook. I like the heavy skyhook. Is a scary thing for monsters, and extra torpedoes and carbines is good too. But 3 shots on that cannon.
Yeah, it's 3 single shots on the cannon. Freeze and 2s, 2 rend, D3 plus 3 damage.
That's why I like my
decent.
the skyhook. It's 2s and 2s.
And does this skyhook hit better? Okay.
Rend 3 against monsters, and then it's 3d6 damage if you hit and wound with all 3 of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So if you're taking this guy and an Ironclad, you don't want to take the Great Volley Cannon, because adding one to the attack characteristic when you've got 4d6 attacks is not great.
Yeah, 46 plus 1. So you get 5 shots.
Yeah. But so, yeah, you're right with the he's very good with an Ironclad, but that is a 680 point combo. We're getting into God Beast territory kind of thing here with 680 points.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing what speaks for him is he's the only non-unique that can unlock everything in his regiment. So if you're looking for drops,
boats.
Yeah.
No.
He's your pick. No, all Kharadron Overlord units. Boats. You can take 5. Well, not 5, but 3 Ironclads with him.
You could get multiple Ironclads if you wanted to with him, but yeah. I like him. It's just him plus an Ironclad is a lot of points.
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably going to take him because of his non-uniqueness, ability to take heroic traits, artifacts, and unlocking all the boats. He's going to be in the list somewhere.
And he's basically given free CP even if you don't use it every turn. I mean, yeah.
Might as well use it. Yeah.
I mean, even if you're taking a frigate, it's like, it's hard to sort of justify other heroes instead of him still. So,
if all I'm taking is a frigate, I'm taking Drekki, because Drekki works with frigates a lot better than this guy does.
The issue with
one hero,
if I take a frigate, I'm not taking him to take up a slot on the frigate.
No,
I want something with more than rend 1 free damage.
The trouble is you don't want him charging in with the frigate. Probably.
No.
But,
okay. Yeah, it is. Okay. It is what it is. So let's get to the good stuff.
The Navigator.
Where's the good stuff?
Here it comes.
Max, where's the good stuff?
Here it comes.
Well, the Navigator has lost 5-inch range. Is that? But
he used to have the longest pistol.
It used to be 3s and 4s. So
no, on the pistol. No, there was always 3s and 3s.
3s and 3s.
Really?
It was.
But it was definitely 50. It was definitely
15 inch. 2 shots, 3s and 3s. 1 rend, 1 damage, and you needed to hit for the flare pistol, and I always rolled 2s for both shots.
Yeah.
So all the pistols.
2 additions there.
Yeah, it still hurts to this day.
I mean, the pistol and I'm sure the Zephyr scope wasn't D3 damage before.
It was not free attacks.
Damage.
And it was not free attacks.
It was 2. It was 2 attacks, 3s and 4s, and
1 rend, 1 damage.
Yeah,
it still does nothing.
He's gone to the gym. He's worked out a little bit. He can.
He's got a bigger scope.
He's added something heavier to the end of the stick. But yeah, you don't take him for his shooting or for his
combat. No.
Okay, he can unbind. He cannot dispel.
This is good.
That's my issue. Why can he not dispel or banish?
Which is a shame. But Yeah, he can unbind, which is the only hero we have that can unbind. So there's that. Of course, any hero can take the Voidstone Orb. And then Read the Winds is similar to before, but different. It's once per turn per army in your hero phase. So it doesn't matter how many navigators you take, you can only do it once. You roll 6 dice, and then now it's just all 1s and 6 is do something. It doesn't. You don't choose to do ones or 6s. So 1s, you pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches, not 13 or 18. And they take T3 mortal wounds or mortal damage. Sorry, that's the new wording. And then their half move. And if 6s, you pick a visible friendly sky vessel within 18 inches, and they get +3 to their move characteristic until the start of your next turn. So
why is this good? First of all, you're probably going to get one of the effects. So it's not the just fishing for 1s or 6s. You just get both, which is a bonus.
Yes.
18 inches so sounds like a nerf, but it's okay. 18 inches is okay.
Yeah.
18 inches is still a long.
I mean, it is a nerf, but it's just not as.
And it is still very, very good to control your opponent's movement. In addition to the whole moving units redeploying, what we talked about. So this is an extra.
Just mortal wounds from range.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
D3 mortal
wounds
always help. Hero, so it can always help. But it's the half moving on 1 or 2 units on average, which is great. You cannot re-roll it anymore. There's no trait for that. Still, it feeds into the same theme that we've talked about: moving, avoiding, being charged, and trying to kill people. And the second thing is the add 3 inches to the move characteristic is so much better than the hero phase move, which was nice, but you couldn't plan for it. This is just +3. We have a sub-faction.
There were so many times. So many times in the last book where I'd be like, I could move there, but my units are in the way, so I can't. So it's like, this is much better. Just getting +3 to your move is just more helpful.
Yeah. So you have, you can have +5 move on a 12-inch move frigate, so 17-inch base move. And if you really don't care for the shooting of the frigate, you're just going to get stuck in there or get a unit somewhere to shoot. You can run it. So it's like a 23-inch move with a frigate and then get the unit out in front of it. Decent. I like him. I like him, and he's cheap-ish. 130 points.
The half move in the last edition, if something like had a 7-inch movement, there was no rule for rounding characteristics. Now there is, and you round down.
Fantastic.
So that's like a sneaky little buff to this as well. Like, it's good.
It's a weird one because I can measure half inches. So
yeah.
Why?
Okay,
yeah. Sure.
I guess they just did it for character. Because not all characteristics involve measurement, do they? Yeah. Yeah, not all characteristics can be measured. Some of them are like, oh, I got 5 attacks and you've halved my attacks or something. I guess.
Maybe.
So, yeah, that's why the rule is there. Yeah. But
no, it's great. 130 points is one of the cheaper ones to unlock a regiment. And
he's going in my list at the moment. He's less auto take than before because you can, like, before Voidstone Orb was a must take and you could only give it to him. And now you can just give any Artifact 21. But I still think he's one of the better heroes. And
yeah, he gets you an unbind and he does things you want, and he's cheap-ish compared to the other guys.
Yeah. Cool. Moving on. Drekki Flynt.
10
10-inch range on his shooting. 2d6 attacks, freeze, 1 rend, 2 damage, shooting combat. He's got 6 wounds and a 3-up save. I don't think we mentioned Navigator's the same. Don't think we mentioned that. His axe.
Navigator is 5 wounds.
Is he?
Yep.
4, 6 damage. Oh well. I mean, he was 5 before, wasn't he? So... Was he?
Yeah. He was always 3-up save.
Yeah. He's still better than some of the other heroes, so Khemist. So his axe is 4 attacks, freeze, 2 rend, 2 damage, and has anti-monster for +1 rend.
Which is nice.
So...
Rend 3 into big things.
Mm-hmm. It's not bad. 4 attacks and decent hit and wound is right. He's got 3 abilities, so he has a deployment phase ability, which is basically you get to pick a frigate to be the Aisling, and that you get to add 1 to the damage characteristic of the ship's melee weapons.
Yeah, sure.
Which is rubbish. But...
Which is not as bad as it sounds, because have you seen that the frigate now has 8 melee attacks?
Yeah, it's had a
increased
glow
melee
up.
attacks.
It had 8 melee attacks before.
No, it has 6.
6
I
before.
think
Now it can do 16
Ironclad had 8.
damage.
I think it had 8 before, because everything was
No.
like 8s at the start. Like it was
The
8
bomb was
dice.
it had 8. It had 8 bombs.
8
But
bombs.
6 melee attacks.
It's 8/6/4 for the melee attacks for frigates
Yes.
and ironclad.
It doesn't matter because they're 4s and 4s, no rend, and 1 damage.
2
But now
damage.
they're
Well,
with
2
him,
damage.
it's 2
But
damage.
they're still 4s and 4s and no rend. Like
Yeah, but still, you
do
get
not
1 or 2
take
per-
him to give a frigate +1 damage.
Well,
No.
But
you can
making
take the frigate and make it your honor guard.
But
Now
so it
it's
has rend.
Eight
and
attack,
3s.
freeze and freeze.
Or
rend,
make it
but-
4s and 4s with +1 rend into whatever you want it to be
To
+1
hit
rend
with
into.
both.
Yeah, do it against a monster. Just so him and the frigate go into a monster.
That'd
But
be a
no,
fluffy
making
option.
something the Aisling is useful, but the extra damage is whatever.
It's not the part of it.
But
He's got
this
Auxiliary
again
Skyhawk.
it doesn't work
It's
if you put the frigate in the sky.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Which is silly.
Mhm.
But okay. Auxiliary Skyhawk is on a 3+, do 2 or 3 mortal wounds.
End of turn.
End of turn. If you're
To a
still
monster
alive.
in combat.
with a
Yeah, if
monster.
you're still end of turn, if you're in combat with a monster, you dead.
But
Yeah.
yeah, if it's your turn, it'd be before they power
No,
through.
it's after
but,
they fought.
But it's after they fought in combat, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I
And
guess
then
technically
the real
they
reason
could have piled in.
The Aisling is
and
good.
You could have piled in after they fought and got in combat with them that way, but yeah,
No.
it's very unlikely.
You can shout, "She can handle it," and then the Aisling can reroll guns and charges while he's within 3 inches.
This is
Reroll
why you
charge,
take
3
Drekki.
reroll charge on the frigate is good.
Yes,
That is a
because
good
also
rule.
reroll charge has been nerfed now in this edition, and it's when you declare the ability. So it's before you make the roll.
Is it?
Yes.
Isn't
100%
part of declaring
sure?
the ability making the roll?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I think
declaring
you
involves
roll
doing it.
Oh, just
as part of
Like declaring a spell, you roll the spell and then you can unbind.
Oh, okay. Maybe I got that wrong. Hang on.
Because that would be useless then. Like who would spend a CP to have a chance on a reroll?
What's the charge ability? What's the wording on charge?
So I'm sure.
Yeah, the effect is you can. Oh wait.
What's
Oh,
what's
no,
the
you need to look at
declare?
actual charge ability.
Declaring
the command
ability,
rather
I
than-
think, includes rolling, and then you have the effect, which
I
comes
think
after.
so, but
I was looking at the command, which is the problem. You then have to scroll past lots of pages to look at the actual ability.
there no search function?
Yes, but the trouble is, if you search for charge, like it comes up like a million times.
Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, the reason you might want to take him is the reroll charge. But as
Also,
we are
that is
pretty sure you can do it with a CP. So I'm
that is
spending
a good card.
180 points on a unique hero. Oof,
Look
the
at
gun
that
is
gun.
good. The gun is good.
That's a carbines. That's 2d6 carbine shots. That could be more than an Ironclad has.
Oh yeah. The charge, the 2d6 is part of the declare. Okay, so I have that wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've just been
So
telling everyone that as well
it
in my
works.
games in real life, and they were like,
No,
"What?
it
That's
works.
rubbish."
It
And I'm
works
like,
as it
"Oh, I
used to.
think it's just to make counter charges more likely." But no, I just got it
So
wrong.
yeah, the gun is good. Okay, sure. But for 180 points to get a reroll, it's still equal to a CP.
Well,
Oof,
if
the
you take
axe
him
in combat,
and Brokk, you
extra
can
rend against the
charge
monster.
and reroll the run roll. That's a
Yeah,
thing.
so if you take him and Brokk,
Yeah, or I spend a CP point. Because
You
Brock's
also
ability is not that
can't
command.
reroll a counter charge because you've
No,
already
both are
received a
commands.
command. Because they're both commands, so he lets you reroll a counter charge with a frigate,
Okay,
which is actually
Yeah.
really good.
which is good, yes. But still, 180 points for fighting. He's not fighting a monster because a monster has more than 8 wounds. He will do a maximum of 8 wounds to it. Then he gets eaten.
He's only fighting a monster if he fights alongside other stuff.
Yeah, so
But then he's taking up space.
he's one of the better
Endrinriggers.
heroes, but unique 180 points. Only one frigate in his battalion.
yeah.
I'm not convinced, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I
Yeah,
value
I mean-
Brock's run and shoot and charge ability more than his reroll charge and run roll.
Hmm.
And to combo
I-
both, you're taking 2 unique heroes. Oof, that's a lot of points. To do that one, I'm gonna
his
run
damage output, I
charge.
think, is worth 180 points. Because yeah, he does about about what a frigate can do for about half the points of a frigate in damage.
Yeah, I'm not taking the frigate for damage.
Yeah, you're
Because it's
taking it
already
for the movement
underwhelming.
shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm just taking it for the moving.
The damage needs to come from somewhere.
That's my issue. I still haven't found the damage in this book or this collection of Warscrolls. Not the damage I need to kill stuff like that.
Yeah, being able to reroll the charge on a counter charge, I think, is good.
Yeah,
but
it's a good
very
point. Yeah, it's a valid point.
situational. It's just it's situational though, and you can try and position for it because it is really good. Counter charge with a frigate is really good because you get fight first on that stuff. But yeah, you need him in there, and then he's taking up the space of 6 Endrinriggers potentially, or 6 Skywardens.
That's the next thing. So he's the problem with these foot heroes in boats is they're potentially taking the space of 6 balloons.
At least for him with melee when charging, because cool. And then the Endrinmaster on foot, 6 wounds, free up save, 2 control scores. They've all got 2 control scores. No
He's what,
shooting.
130 points, I think.
130.
Yeah, 130.
So
he still can't stare at people.
Yeah, he
anymore.
lost his
last turnaround, and he's not good at back. His eyesight is still poor. So just a melee weapon, 3 attacks, 4s to hit, 2s to wound, -2 rend, 3 damage flat.
Damage 3.
Yeah.
He
So
used to be
his hammer has more rend than before and better than the Admiral, but now it's hit some 4s.
Worse.
It's better. But not taking for damage, not for melee.
You take him for his healing.
I take him
You're
for
taking
his
not even for the healing. You're taking for the other ability.
aye captain.
Yeah.
Because so it's pick a vessel within 3 inches, and then on a 2-up you can retreat and run and you shoot, and then you don't take mortal wounds from retreat, which is the only way in this book to retreat a boat out of combat and still shoot nowadays.
With the boat.
Which I think is worth a thing. Remember, the boat, when it retreats, it drags everyone else out of combat, and they can all shoot as well.
And they won't count as being retreated, so they could charge. So it's retreat and charge for them.
They cannot charge because they moved with the boat.
Oh, because they've been transported, yeah, so they can't charge. Never mind.
But they can still shoot normally at everything. So I would rate him. In my list, I kind of want him and a Gunhauler. That's kind of his regiment. And then if the big boat is in danger, he zips up in his little Gunhauler, tags the big boat, and then the big boat can disengage and take all of its friends with it. And then you can keep doing your thing.
Oh, but that's an expensive get out of jail card with the Gunhauler.
Yeah, but
you just need to be in the boat or near the boat.
But otherwise, when you get charged, if your big boat gets charged, it's kind of game over if you can't get out.
Yeah, but why isn't he in the boat in the first place?
Oh, because the big boat is full of Thunderers.
Yeah, you can put 32 people.
But only 4 units, and my 4 units are Thunderers, and an Admiral.
Sure. Yeah, but he wants to pair with a Ironclad, I think, in that kind of build where you have the Ironclad with shooting units, and for some reason they managed to tag your Ironclad in combat. Interestingly, he lets you run and shoot also.
Yeah,
which sounds good, but he doesn't let you charge.
No.
So
again, better with an Ironclad than it is with a frigate because you're not bothered about charging an Ironclad in.
Otherwise, he would be great with frigates because it's just on a 2+ every turn. So for 130 points, non-unique hero to unlock regiments. He does some healing. Okay, sure. The ability is a defensive one.
I'd say
could be an option. He's on the table.
I say he's on par with the Navigator, depending on what's better with your list. Like if you have to go for a secondary hero, him or the Navigator, depending on how you want to play it.
Yep. Same points.
The run and shoot being on a 2+, if you want to retreat and shoot, that's fine. Because on 2+ you might be able to retreat and shoot. But the run and shoot, if you're using the run and shoot, there's a good chance you might be doing that because you're planning ahead to like, okay, I'm planning my turn around this run and shoot, which is on a 2+. It's already bad enough you don't know how far you're going to run, but then if you fail that 2+,
it's better than a.
It's better than a 3+.
Yes. True.
Speaking of,
okay, should we talk about 3+?
This dickhead.
You guys with 3+.
Oh dear, I still haven't painted mine.
Where is it? Here he is.
At least the Codewright is something because he picks. So Codewright has the usual 3-up save, 5 wounds, 2 control. He's got a little pistol. He's got his battle tome, which is D3 damage now, which is funny, but still isn't going to do anything.
Because D3, because it depends how many books hit you.
It's weird because our book kind of is just a couple sheets of paper now. It's very small. It won't do a whole lot of damage, but okay.
Well, it depends. Is the Soulblight book has a lot of pages. If it's a Fire Slayer book, it has little pages. So yeah.
So he picks once a turn. Pick 3 visible KO units, no range, so that's cool, and it's 3 of them. And you roll a dice for each target. So on a 3-up, and then on a 3+, pick one of the following effects to apply to the target for the rest of the turn. Add 2 to control score, add 1 to run and charge rolls. That's nice. And no mortal damage is inflicted on the retreat ability, but you still can't retreat and shoot, so you're not wanting to retreat. So basically, you pick 3 things and you add 1 to the run and charge rolls, which, yeah, okay, so 3 of them, it'll happen to one of them. Whether it'll happen to the frigate, which is the one you want it to happen to, who knows? Maybe it'll happen to the riggers inside the frigate, who aren't going to run and charge anyway because they're being transported.
Yeah, no, pass.
Mm.
Cheapest hero, 110 points, but
Why didn't he give us CP? That's what we need. That's what he
really
used to
makes
do.
him bad is the core rules say that when you pick like an X number of units, like 3 units, you have to pick different units. Because if you could pick the frigate 3 times and just roll 3 dice to see if it gets the +1 to charge.
Yeah, 3 dice every 3 up is a +1 to move and charge.
Yeah.
That's charge. That's cool.
But you can't do that, so
no.
I mean, adding it's any KO unit, right? Yeah. Adding 2 to the control score of a frigate will allow the frigate to steal an objective from a monster.
Yeah.
So as control score 7 in that case is good. But if you want to do that to score points, and I'm not basing my scoring points on a free up roll. I'm taking this guy. So no, thank you. Next.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It gets
Khemist.
better.
Khemist. So first of all,
before we,
yeah.
I was just going to pre out this from the chat. So Vincent said it would have been fun if this guy was introducing the old footnote rules or something. Yeah, that would have been really good. If you got like a 3d6 charge, we would have been all over that.
3d6 charge or CP,
and in fact, on a free up, we're getting a 3d6 charge. I mean, still,
I guess it's old enough.
Dodgy, but...
Last book, and now they don't want him around anymore. Not that people took him in the last book either.
No, but they all bought the model before they saw the rules, like me.
Yeah. Well, because in there when they previewed the rules in the last book, it sounded really good, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then in reality, it wasn't so good.
Get free CP, but it turns out everything gave you free CP, so it was whatever.
Just play Arkanaut.
Yeah, if he still gave you a free CP, he'd be good.
He would. I would take him for free CP.
He would be very good.
I would absolutely take him, but no, he's trash. This guy's also trash, but at least the Codewright has the decency to be cheap trash.
Well, also the Codewright, you're rolling 3 dice, whereas with the Khemist, you only get to roll 1 dice to see if he does something.
So first of all, everyone else has their
triple the chance of doing something.
And 10-inch weapons, because Games Workshop has realized that you deploy 9 inches away, so you want that 10-inch range, so you can do stuff when you come down.
Well, I think they knew before, and it was intentional that you had 9-inch range, but
has
now because you can just redeploy away from it, that's why they give
8 inches. Why is he less range?
Because he's just firing gas at you. That's why.
He got 1 more attack, and it does D3 damage now. So he hits as hard as a battle tome. Cool. Etheric augmentation, the thing that gave you rend. Now it's once a turn, and it happens on a 3+. So
only one chemist can do it.
Yeah, so you take 2 chemists, sure. Then we can at least get some consistency. No, they thought of that.
Free up. I hate free up abilities.
Yeah, it just means you can't rely on it. Like you come down, you go, all right, this is the shooting phase. No chemist. But on turn 4,
question
when
for the chat.
Is dead, If the Codewright was
The question is about the Codewright. If it was a 2+, but it applies for the Khemist as well. If either of these abilities were a 2+, would you be
The
taking
Khemist, yes. The Codewright, no.
Yeah, the Codewright just doesn't. His abilities don't give you enough.
The Codewright needs to be automatic, but it's D3 units. I think that's what it needs to be.
Yeah,
it needs to be.
D3
It needs to
units
be something. Needs to be something decent. Just
well, I mean,
anything.
+1 to charge is decent, and if it's guaranteed.
In a world
like-
where I can move 20 inches, I don't need +1 to charge because I'm 3 inches away.
Maybe.
If it was a 3d6 charge. Okay, now we're talking.
And the Khemist needs to be on a 2+, because 3+ is just, and he's 140 points. He's more expensive than a Navigator and an Endrinmaster and a Codewright. He's like, this is a premium ability. +1 rend.
Mm-hmm.
And
I just realized also the +1 to charge you can't use on counter charge either, because it's just
atmospheric isolation. The one where you -1 to hit for things for enemy models within 3, it happens to 1 enemy unit, and that also happens on a 3+. So he's just like, he doesn't do anything. He just sits there, and sometimes rolls a dice and goes, I remembered I actually have something on my back. Here, take it.
Oh, it won't start. Yeah, unfortunately, both of these heroes are not so interesting. The Khemist, maybe if you run a Thunder build and you need a second hero, you might take the Khemist just for that 2 out of 5 rounds where you actually get the extra rend. Sure.
With the Khemist, are you rolling because he fires the gas and you're just rolling to see if there's a breeze that just takes it away before it affects anything?
Yeah.
As the Resident Thunderer build guy, I need my rend on very specific turns. Turn 1 and 2, not turn 3 and 4 and 5. I need my rend now.
Yeah, you want that sweet rend 4. Rend 3 against infantry.
If he could guarantee +1 rend, but it was once per game, would you take him?
Yes.
In a specific build, yes.
In the specific Thunderer.
At least you could do it on that one turn you really need it, couldn't you?
Yeah, that one turn where I come down and blast everything I have. Yeah.
Deploy and destroy.
Okay, let's come to something nice. Next.
Grant over.
Units, proper units.
These are
cool.
Arkanauts. Arkanauts have had some buffs, but they've also cost more points. So Arkanauts, pistols are now 10-inch. 2 attacks, 4s and 4s, get shooting combat, no range, 1 damage. The body gun, 15-inch range, 2d6, gets crit is 2 hits.
Which is 2d6 shots.
No rend, 1 damage.
It'll hit. It'll get this off. Like, this is good.
Yeah. You get in the habit now of looking for 6s. Okay. And the Skyhook, 15-inch range, has +1 rend for monsters. Everything else is the same as it was before. Melee weapons.
Yeah,
you now get 2 attacks per model, and the guys with the Skyhook and the volley gun count as having hand weapons now.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't have gun butts. So
there's no more gun butts in this army.
Yeah. So they've gone from having 1 attack that was worse than a normal one to having 2 normal attacks. And also, the way champions work, the leader now gets an extra melee attack, which he didn't before. So they are...
Yeah. Champions get an extra melee and shooting attack, which is actually kind of cool when you look at some of the Balloon Boys later. But
so they are a little bit better in melee, although you've lost a Skypike attack because they used to have 3. But
crit mortals,
yeah,
which is 6s to hit. I always thought crit mortals were 6s to wound. I was wrong, and my daughters are much killier than I thought they were.
Much clearer than Arkanauts. Yeah, Arkanauts are okay. I mean, and they get +1 to hit for units
if they target enemy units that are on an objective, which is so now you've got pistols that are 3s and 4s, and a volley gun which is 3s and 4s. And combat
this is not quite as good as it used to be though, because objectives are just that much smaller.
Yeah, but like, people still like sitting
a lot more.
It happens more than you think.
People
they sit on them,
that
before...
one model with a toe on an objective. So.
Yeah. Enemy units still generally like to sit on objectives. It's usually how they try and win the game.
Unfortunately, now if you walk Arkanauts near an enemy unit and shoot them, there's a good chance they get countercharged. Because before, what you could do is it was possible to move Arkanauts onto objective, and then the enemy would be on an objective, but they'd be far away from you still. Now they are very close. And if you want to get some models,
you used to be able to walk 3 inches away from an enemy and just stare at them, and they couldn't do anything about it because they didn't have countercharge. And now they're rude.
Now, if you want to contest an objective, you are probably going to end up fighting something. Is a shame. Well, it's not a shame for the game, I guess, but it's a shame for KO.
So
overall,
these are
I like these guys. 110 points.
But in a world where you don't need the troops tax, would you take them?
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, with the whole shenanigans of moving stuff around, you need to get bodies onto objectives at some point, and these cheap bodies you can fling around. You need screens and that's the point. You still want screens, because one sky vessel can do the redeploy and keep someone safe. If you have 6 units of pigs approaching you, you need to move more units. So screens are valuable. I like these guys. I like them especially in 20s because that's quite a lot of shots, and with 3-inch melee range, that's quite a lot of melee attacks potentially on 3s and 4s. So they're not going to kill Archeon, sure, but they're going to do damage. They're going to do something, and maybe keep the control of an objective. I just want to point out that in melee, without using a CP, they hit better than Endrinriggers if what their target is on an objective.
Yes. And so I like them, and they're good to capture objectives because they actually have a big control score.
I think
if you fling them with a boat onto an objective and you get like 10 of them onto the objective, it's one way to control.
20 of these and 10 Thunderers and 2 Heroes is a good Ironclad garrison, essentially. Transporting that's a whole lot of stuff, and it gives you that melee and gives them the rate of fire here, and it allows the Ironclad to take 2 heroes, which is nice.
So I'm sure there is a build where you can. Oh, we had this with the 2 Ironclads and 40 Arkanauts. There is a build where you can put output with Arkanauts because it's just a lot of shots, especially with 2 volley guns, so 4d6 crit 2 hits. You're generating a lot of dice, 3s and 4s, maybe a rend. No, the rend doesn't work on shooting weapons, the honor guard one. So even 3s and 3s, maybe if you put them in the honor guard, it's just a weight of dice. Then you took away the ward. They're gonna roll some 1s and 2s, and stuff starts dying.
Yeah,
and there's no more battle shock, so that also helps units with bigger model count.
20-man units, and you lose 10 of them. The other 10 are just going to sit there. No CP, no nothing. They don't run.
Yep. So one of the better units in in the army, I think,
Mhm.
for what
Yeah.
they are and what their purpose is.
Mhm. And even if you just want them to be a cheap roadblock, we are one of the few units that can throw that roadblock quite far up the board now, because you just move a ship and then you sit them 6 inches in front of the ship.
Yeah, so that's another list build I am trying, and I'm getting frustrated with the third frigate. Just have two boats with 2 10-man units and set them up forward, and the kind of the old, what was it, assault boat or
Yeah, Iron
assault
Sky
squadron?
attack squadron. Yeah,
Attack squadron. Yeah, just set them up in front of objectives to just box the opponent in or block them off, and if they then advance, you just redeploy them backwards with the boat.
Yeah, just ball control, basically. Cool. Moving on to Thunderers. So 2 wins each, 3 up save, 140 points. No, yeah, 140.
140, so they've gone down again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rifles at 18 inches, 2 attacks, 3s and 4s, -1, 1 damage, so the same as they were. Fumigators and deck sweepers are combined to 10-inch range, 5 attacks each, 3s, 4s, -1, 1 damage, but have infantry +1 red and human combat. And the mortar and Aether cannons at 18-inch range, 2 attacks each, 4s, 3s, -1 and D3 damage. And then gunbutts. Gunbutts, don't worry about gunbutts, they're rubbish. And so they've lost.
They lost the Dirigible.
Yeah. They lost the Fumigator ability.
Ability is all their guns have shooting combat. Like, okay.
It's a weird one. The whole timing. Your shooting phase, if you have not used a move, so if you got charged last turn, then you got shooting combat, is a bit of a weird interaction.
Yeah, or if you've transported them with a boat, because then they haven't moved. Because they didn't use the movability.
Yeah, but they were set up.
But then it's also not set up, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, like they.
So it doesn't work with setting them up, getting countercharged, then they don't have shooting combat.
Yeah.
Plus, charging happens after shooting anyway.
So, charging happens after shooting. So
yeah, the whole timing is weird on this one.
Basically, I think they want. I think Games Workshop want every unit to have an ability text in their war scroll somewhere. Which is why. So like, you could just give them shooting combat to all the weapons; it would make no difference.
Can you cover fire in combat? I don't think so.
What?
Cover fire in combat?
Can you use covering? If you're already in combat, can you use covering fire?
No, but it doesn't work because this ability is your shooting phase, so it doesn't synergize.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. It's a weird one. I like the extra rend on 20 shots for a 10-man unit. Especially 10 inches, a bit rough. But okay.
So about these guys, I
can increase the range.
I played a game with them, and I was getting very depressed by their shooting output. When I realized that they don't have 2 fumigators and deck sweepers, they have 4 fumigators and deck sweepers.
Yeah,
I've been used to. So unit 10 Thunderers has got 2 of each gun, 2 rifles, 2 of that, 2 of that. Jesus, why are these guys only shooting like 15 shots and 4 cannons? This is trash. And they're like, hang on. Oh, this is so much better.
I mean, they're good. Wounding on 4s is rough. So unless they are on a guard with +1 to hit, +1 to wound.
Honor guard thunderers do work. 2s and 3s is very nice on 25 dice.
2s and 3s, and then potentially extra rent, but you're not taking a chemist. So they have the potential to be a very good shooting unit. Still, I'm not convinced this is where the damage is in the army. It's not enough.
So it turns out if you take 30 of them, they do kill Vanguard very easily.
Yeah, if you take 30 of them and you manage to get them all within 10 inches of the unit.
15
for those
inches of
shots.
the unit.
Well, if you take that,
These guys can be plus 5 inches.
Yeah, once per game.
This is all you need once per game. Because after that,
Sure.
the Vanguard are probably like 3 inches away because they're trying to charge you and you're trying to redeploy away from them.
But if you're doing the 30, then you cannot do the reserve deep strike.
No. You just drive the boat up. It's fast enough.
Yeah. No, they're
especially
okay.
With the Endrinmaster, it's gun and shoot. So the boat moves 16 and then they deploy out the front of it. And then you...
Yeah, they're not bad. But shooting has
the good thing is they're not that expensive.
Yeah,
They
280. So
are
they're in between Endrinriggers and Skywardens for 20 wounds on a free up save. I'll give
But
them that.
I think for 280 points, this is a well costed unit. This is not too expensive, I think, for what it does.
And they're not that much more than Arkanauts when you think about it. 30 points more.
It's the same amount of wounds, better save, better shooting. Better save, same wounds, more 30 more points.
So Leon in the chat said he beat Gargans with 20 Thunders and a card with the redeploying shenanigans, and 20 Thunders got decent damage. So the Ironclad and Admiral were doing the most.
I can bet
the small Gargans or the big ones?
Don't know.
The Ironclad with this heavy skyhook into a Gargant does a lot of damage. Neg 3, 2s and 2s, 3 shots. That hurts a Gargant.
The big Gargants are safe now, aren't they?
Mag bowlers as well, so assuming that's Mega Gargants that was being
Gargants are one of those armies that don't have they don't teleport, they don't have a 3-6 charge. They just walk towards you and do that 2-6 charge. So you can bait a Gargant army out and never get in combat with them.
No, yeah, sure. So coming back to Thunders, one of the better units in the book, I'd say.
Yeah.
But since shooting has been toned down across the game, it's a bit of a shame because they do less than they used to. I like that we can still play 30 or 35 as I did 2 years ago or a year ago, actually. Yeah. So we're back to that. That's cool. We'll see.
It's not like 35 isn't the auto win button that it used to be. Like they won't actually wipe out your opponent's army, but they will kill most units in the game in a turn. 30 of them.
That's a good thing, isn't it? We don't want auto win armies, so
we don't want auto win armies.
You know.
And 35 Thunders that were killing half an army was stupid. But this will do enough damage, I think. Most
when buffed. If they're not buffed, they're average. They're gonna do like 10 damage to a 4-up save.
Yeah, but you take
25 shots.
Now they'll do 30 damage to a Gargant, and then
not even. Yeah, but it's a lot. Again, it's a lot of eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Even 10 will put out a decent amount of damage, and you can have them combo with the Arkanaut company. Arkanaut is going to give you rate of fire and just a screen, and the Thunders sit behind them. Just
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we move on, TD Martin says we run out of pages to find that damage on. We are running out of pages because we've got 1 page. Oh no, 2 pages left. Sorry. I forgot about Endrinriggers and Skywardens. Endrinriggers. So 10-inch range on the pistols now, not 12. 3 attacks, freeze,
Shooting
falls,
combat.
-1, 1 damage, shooting combat.
This is
volley
nice.
gun.
The sergeant has 4 shots actually, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Sergeant does get an extra shot. The volley gun, 15-inch range, 2d6, falls, no rend, crits 2 hits.
It's just the
heavy
one
weapon,
now.
which is the grapnel, skyhook, and drill cannon. 1 attack, falls, freeze, -1 D3, anti-monster for +1 rend. But I mean, basically the Skywarden big guns are the same. Do you agree that with either of these units, you're not taking the big guns?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's too
and then-
many points for too little shooting.
Not much. Yeah.
I can get the same shooting from 10 Arkanauts.
Yeah.
It's the same profile. Exactly the same.
Yeah.
It is now.
The
It's
volley
not
gun and the
better.
heavy weapon. Just
Mhm.
take 10 for 110.
The Endrinriggers 3 saw attacks now. But hit on 4s and wound on 3s. -2, D3 damage. Gun butts, whatever. Nobody cares about gun butts. And their field repairs at the end of any turn. And the rest of it is the same. You roll a d6 for each model in the unit. And for each 4 or 5, you heal 1, and for each 6, you heal 2.
Yeah,
So
although
it's 3-inch range on it now. So
but it works in combat.
yes, and it does work in combat now, which is good actually. But
The hitting on 4s hurts.
yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
a lot.
with Brokk, potentially 4 attacks each. The champion 5 with strike first if you use a frigate. It's not bad if you use honor guard, then rend free versus a type of unit of your choosing. So I played this into Archeon and I countercharged him with a frigate, so getting fight first with Brokk. I mean, it's a lot of attacks with rend free D3 damage. That's good, but as Leon says in the chat, it's glass cannon. It's
Not
a
too
real.
much glass.
It's the same. It's
Not
the same
enough
issue I
cannon.
had with balloons in the last edition, where you actually want to get at least 2 activations out of them because they're so expensive. Now with the movement shenanigans, retreating them, powering through, so getting them out of combat maybe where they didn't want to be, you have better options to do that. But you need to be extremely careful. So these guys, if they get caught, if someone touches them, they're gonna melt, and that's your output in the army. So this is one source of damage, I think, which is also decent.
I'll just quickly run through the Skywardens. So the pistols are freeze and freeze on the Skywardens rather than freeze and falls, and the Skypikes are 2 attacks, freeze and freeze, -1, 2 damage with crit mortals. And then we've talked a bit about the time charge. End of any turn, pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a D3, and on a 2+, you do that amount of mortal damage, and you can retreat without taking any mortal wounds. But both these units are very similar. So kind of talk about them in the same way, which is there is this glass cannon thing, and there are issues because some of the ways you could protect them a little bit in the last edition, you can't do so much now. So in the last edition, if you wanted to charge with them, but something had a shooting attack, you could charge like a Gunhauler or something in first, so that they don't take the unleash hell. Whereas now they can just use covering fire on them. And
but covering fire needs to target the closest unit. So
you've got to do something like get the boat closer or something. Then
so put the frigate in front of them.
Yeah,
put the frigate first.
They they melt to shooting. Pretty much.
They melt to everything.
Yeah,
They
but
melt
you
to
have
everything.
-1 to be hit in shooting at least. The main problem I found was power through happens after combat, so you charge in, you do your hits, and then whatever they have left does their hits. And then, but unfortunately, whatever they have will kill like 2 or 3 of these guys, even if it's just dregs. And then you power through, but then you've lost half your squad.
Yeah.
So
So
the
the
waste your
thing,
CP to rally, and CP is precious and to be used for redeploys only.
you got enough.
Yeah, the force to hit on Endrinriggers, you need to have a CP to all out attack them.
Yeah.
When you charge in.
Sky Pikes only being 2 attacks,
not.
you really want Brokk for that third attack.
Sky Pikes
but
being
then
2
it's an
attacks, I don't want to have Sky Pikes.
And it's but we're talking about Skywardens, that's why.
Oh.
So we're just talking about both, really. But yeah.
To conclude, and so it's very expensive because they cost more than Endrinriggers, and the time charges. So D3 2+ you can get out of combat. You can do that anyway with a powering through frigate. The only benefit I see, you do this first, so and then power through, so you deal an additional D3 mortal wounds.
And
but if they're stuck somewhere in combat, often, as Kron said, there's going to be 3 left of them, and they can get somewhere.
End of combat. End of
Wait, with Skywardens, is there an argument to say you go MS? Well, trouble is if you go MSU, it's then drops.
It drops, yeah.
Because then you get more time charge abilities, you get more attacks, and if you're all fighting first because of the frigate, and you don't with Skywardens, you don't need to use all out attack because you're hitting on freeze as opposed to fours.
No,
I take
with
I take Skywardens if I have an awkward amount of points left over, so I can upgrade Endrinriggers too.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, fair.
Would you even
I've done that in list.
If I'm at 1910 or 1920, I might as well spend those 40 points.
I think the trouble is quite often you're at 1920 and it pushes you to 1960, and then you're like, I
don't care. I don't care. Because that CP is only turn 1, and turn 1 you don't need all the CPs.
No.
Yeah.
But I've kind of looked at it like even when I was over points, even when I was under points, and could just had the points to turn the riggers into wardens, I was like, I kind of want the Ren 2, please, with the 3 attacks.
Yeah, but the mortals equalize that, I think.
Yeah, and the hitting on 4s is
rough.
A pain. It's very rough. Because if you get a bad roll with that, and then it's it's very bad.
Maybe.
But I think there is good lists with boats and balloons.
Yeah,
I mean this also does damage. This is where some damage is.
Because there is actually quite a lot of shooting with these guys as well, just with the pistols.
Yeah, and
both
I've had
Skywardens and Endrinriggers.
Even Brokk buffing up a big unit, a unit of 6 of these guys, that'll do in a frigate. That little package does a lot of output. It's just it is made of glass, so it's not damage that'll stick around and last for longer.
Yep. Shall we look at the delivery mechanism?
Delivery mechanisms.
Yeah.
Last page. We have 3 delivery mechanisms, not 2.
Well, for melee, we have 1.
Yes, well, unless you want to send it. So, Ironclad, 20 wounds, Frigate 15, Gunhauler 10, all got a free up save. Frigate and Ironclad have a control score of 5, Gunhauler 2. Ironclad, 8 carbine shots, 12-inch range, freeze, -1, 2 damage, so same as it was. Shooting combat, torpedoes, still 18. Were they 18 before?
Lost 6-inch range?
No, they lost it. They were 24.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if they lost it here or the edition before.
No, here.
Yeah.
4 attacks, 4s, 3s, -1, and they've changed to 2 damage as well.
D3.
Because they used to be D3, but that's a good thing, I think, overall.
Yeah.
And then you've got a choice between either the Sky Cannon, which is 2 attacks, 4s, 2s, -2, D3 +3. The Sky Hook, 2 attacks, 3s, 2s, -2, D6 with anti-monster +1 rend. And the Body Cannon, which is 18-inch range, 4d6 attacks.
Yeah, but went to
4s,
4s.
3s, -1.
Oh, it used to be 3s.
Yeah.
Pour one
Yeah.
out for the
And
Sky
anti-infantry.
Cannon Scattershot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Leon says, RIP Supremacy Mine. Yeah.
Yeah. It lost that again.
Again.
You keep misplacing that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, at least it can finally issue itself orders.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
and finally, the Navigator on top has a role.
Yeah. If you pick it.
Yeah.
If you pick that.
Yeah.
The main thing with all of these boats, I think, is the transport capacity. So the Ironclad is 3 units and 22 models. The bomb racks roll 10 dice, and for each plus it's 1 mortal damage. 10 dice is more than it used to be, I think.
No, it's exactly what it used to be.
I haven't played an Ironclad for so long. Well, actually, I played an Ironclad yesterday, but in the last edition, I didn't play an Ironclad for so long.
I had a great list. Ironclad, 3 frigates, doing bombs and ramming and everything all the time.
A nice upgrade to bomb racks is they work on retreats now, which they didn't used to do, but now
yeah, they do.
Yes, it's your movement phase.
But so they also work on. They do work on
runs.
retreats. Oh, I missed that.
Then they work on runs
great.
now as well.
Yeah, they used to work on runs before.
They don't work on charges or power throughs, unfortunately. But they will work on
redeploys.
They would work on. No, they wouldn't work on redeploys. Yeah,
it's
not your movement.
But and then
that's good.
In the deployment phase,
retreats.
You can pick an engine work.
That's great.
Yeah, retreat bombs.
I take D3 mortal wounds. No,
Endrinmaster.
You take D3 mortal wounds.
You take more than that
because the Endrinmaster lets you retreat and shoot. So
yeah.
Yep.
That's why I'm liking him with an Ironclad in that kind of build.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fact that you can do it on a retreat now, that's quite good actually. So you can pick one of 3 engine works, either +2 move, increasing the capacity to 10 models and 4 units instead of 3, or giving the Ironclad an unbind as if it was a wizard. The important thing about this is you can't do it if it's deployed in the sky. So you can't be planning to have that extra capacity for doing fly high.
That same bloody you can't and deployment abilities that don't have the deploy keyword happen after the thing abilities with the deploy keyword. You can't choose to use this and then
but this is one where it's quite important because people might look at this and think, I can get it to carry 32 models and then just drop them all down 9 inches away. But you can't. It actually stops you doing stuff this time around. So,
but they're all decent abilities. You can have a 14-inch move Ironclad. You get an extra unbind if you need it in that game, or transport more. But then you already consider that in your list building, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you're using the compartments, you've decided that when you're building your list. So
wait,
not officially. You deploy. You do it at deployment phase, but you would have planned ahead when you've written your list to have the models.
Yeah, definitely.
So, so the frigate carbines 12 inch range, 4 attacks, 3 threes, -1/2 damage, shooting combat. The Sky Cannon, 2 attacks, force, 2 -2, D3 +1, so it's lost a pip of damage because it used to be D3 +2. And the Skyhook is 4s, 3s, -2 D6 with anti-monster +1 rend. Boarding weapons, 8 attacks, 4s and 4s.
So
The important thing about the frigate is assault boat, which we
Yeah,
have covered before because
we have covered
they've
the frigate,
revealed
but-
it, but we'll go over it again. Basically, you can't use it in the charge phase, and it is a charge ability because it has the charge keyword, and it's also a move ability and a core ability. So you couldn't use this and then also use charge. Not that you'd want to, I guess, but you can't use it if you run or retreat as standard. What are you going to say, Con?
Oh, yeah, but you can use this in a counter charge, which is nice.
Yes, because of the charge keyword.
And because counter charge says if it were your charge phase.
Yes.
You can use abilities as if it were your charge phase.
Basically, what it does is you charge the boat, and you get to move any units up to the ship's transport capacity that are wholly within 6 inches of it before it makes the charge move, and place them wholly within 3 inches of the ship, and they go in combat after the ship charge, and they get 5 first. It's good.
Shame it doesn't do mortal wounds anymore.
Shame, yeah. But there's a few things we need to note with the assault boat. First, I love, and this is the same with the move. You remove the models first, and then you move the boat. So you clear the space to move boat, which is fantastic. Because often you're like castled in behind your units with boats, so there wouldn't be any board space available. In this case, you just remove the unit and then charge in, and then set the unit back up. And secondly, the unit now doesn't need to be in combat. The one that you took with you, you can put it in combat, but you don't have to, and it counts as charge, so it still gets the pile in. So you can deploy outside of free, and then you have because maybe they have a combat ability, that unit that you just charged. Maybe
they
it
might
gives
also
fight
have
blast.
voice cracks first.
They get strike first from this, but the opponent's unit maybe give you a strike last.
Yeah, or they might, or the opponent's unit might also have voice cracks first if they're Ideneth or something like that.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't matter because it's your turn, so you strike first anyway.
Wouldn't you? Isn't strike first if both people have it? You pick a unit, they pick a unit, you pick a.
Yeah, so I pick a unit first.
Yeah, but if you have 2 units of riggers, then you pick one of the riggers, then they punch a rigger, then. But this would let you get around that.
Yeah. Although the opponent could also pile in. But it's more about abilities. So if they have some ability, -1 to hit, -1 to wound, I don't know, something. So you can be out of free and then pile in and fight. So that's great. And as we said, we can also do this on counter charge. And you can also use this. As I said, you don't need to be in combat. So what I used this for was the opponent was threatening to to destroy a unit. So I just counter charged and picked up a screen and charged something else before he could pile into a unit. So obviously it happens after his charge, but you can use this to pick a unit that got charged and it goes somewhere else because you can pick a unit that is in combat, right? Not sure if I make myself clear. So you can, if your screen got charged, you can counter charge the boat, pick up your screen, and go
take
somewhere
it out
else.
of combat. Yeah.
And charge a nearby enemy unit.
Although you can, I mean, if you want to drag things out of combat, you can do that with a normal boat. Like a normal boat could just counter charge.
Yeah, but
and drag
you
things
could
out of
have
combat.
redeployed. Sure.
Yeah.
You could have redeployed in the first place to not get charged. Or you redeployed on one front, then your second boat, the screen got charged. Now you have an option to get those out of combat as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So it just to get people a bit thinking. It's not just in your turn you get people into combat. You can use this to, get units around the board, get them onto objectives, not specifically to attack someone or to kill someone, but just to get extra movement, move units around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a second opportunity to
frigate
is
in the boat. The number one choice for this army, I think, is the one unit you want. Unless you're playing a specific shooting build.
Point out, because I hadn't really thought this through before, I just realised that the fact that you don't have to put them in combat and then they can then pile in, and the timing of charge phase ability, combat phase abilities means that it's before fighting. So Brokk's ability, you can actually have them sit further back to be in range of Brokk, so they get Brokk's bonus.
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
And then pile in. So that does mean Brokk's ability is potentially easier to use.
Yep. And if we're talking about the 2 balloon units in a frigate and then Brokk walks up behind. Yep.
And it makes them immune to rampage abilities as well from enemy monsters.
Yep.
Because, you could just tail one guy back, and that one guy, as long as he's within like 7.25 inches, he would be able to fight still. Because by the time you then, because he just has to be within Brokk's 3 inches.
Yes.
And then, so you got like that. That's quite far, because the base is a 1.25 inch, and then you move forward 3 inches, then you got 3 inches range after that. To get that guy in. That's potentially there is maybe some shenanigans there. It's just fiddly to do.
Fiddly Shenanigans is the name of the KO game right now.
It is.
And
it is.
You still wouldn't be getting Brokk into combat is the thing. So.
Your results will depend on how good you can use these abilities.
Okay.
Your opponent is not going to be happy with you, but
no, there will be questions.
All
like,
you have.
Really do?
I've had those questions.
if you fight your opponent, holding your ground, honorable combat style, the way they want you to, you're going to lose, because we don't have the units or the staying power to just fight things anymore.
We don't have the units. We just don't have the units because everything is expensive. There's no cheap 90 points unit that you can send off somewhere to score a battle tactic.
No. Okay.
We'll have to do more videos about KO in the near future.
I mean, that is what the channel's about. So, but Gunhauler. Gunhauler can take 5 models. Up to 1 unit.
Awkward number.
It's
awkward number.
It's like thematic with the fact they're Grundstok, and you can take 5 Thunderers.
It's designed for 5 Thunderers, I think, but you would never just take 5 Thunderers.
It has lost its once per game extra 60 coming,
so
it's slower than it used to be. It's a shame. And the escort vessel has changed, so it now gives wards to itself as well.
Yep.
If it's near either a frigate or an Ironclad, which is quite nice, I guess. It's a little bit.
It's nice. I like the drill cannon with rent-free, flat-free damage.
And I like 3s and 3s much better than
only
4s
15 inches. I think it used to be 30 inches at one point.
It was 30 inches at one point.
Yes, now
it was 36 at one point. I'm sure it was 36 at one point.
It was a lot, yeah. So 15 is a bit harsh on one shot. 200 points for a 6-up ward or a hero transport. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
I
if we
think
have the points for this.
this is
The
good.
5 is just awkward because it's 500s. I don't know if you want to transport 3 balloons. And where in the heck are you going to write a list with 5 units of heroes? They're going to go inside a Gunhauler.
Well, you can only put one hero inside anyway because it's only one
You can only
unit.
put one in.
Oh, even
So you
worse.
can't even
Yeah,
put 5
sure.
heroes in there or 2 heroes.
So you can't do 3 balloons and a hero. No. Oh,
So
no, this thing is terrible.
In my Thunderer build, I like it because it's the transport for the Endrinmaster, kind of. You have the Ironclad, it's full, so the Endrinmaster locks up behind it, like jumps to its it's doing its stuff over in a corner, and then jumps to its position when it needs to bail it out of combat.
Mm-hmm.
I found it useful for that, and only because basically that list is just a 580 point block. The list is 580 points, and you have 480 points of support of pick whatever you want to put in, and this fits nicely with an Endrinmaster and 3 riggers to kind of be the 2 flanking units that get you that battle tactic, and then transports your hero over when he's needed. Good in specific. We don't. Do we need do lists need a general, a hero, at least one? Is that a requirement?
Yes. You need to select one general.
So you can't just have a list that's 10 Gunhaulers and you're done. 2,000
not
points,
anymore.
10 Gunhaulers.
Not anymore.
You could have 9,
that's
they could all be
could have.
auxiliary units. And
Yeah, or 10 Gunhaulers, 10 drops, all auxiliary.
You can do a hero who can take 4 Gunhaulers in his regiment.
you
and then
could do an
6
Admiral, 4 Gunhaulers, and that's 1 drop, and then the rest are auxiliary.
Yeah.
Or
Which
just,
sounds
you just do
terrible.
8. You just do 8 Gunhaulers and 2 heroes, and it's 2 drops. 2 drops.
Yeah. No.
2 Admirals, 8 Gunhaulers. Oof.
Yeah, no.
Not without my Ordinator. And not without the scatter shot, the 4-shot sky cannon that the thing used to have. The 4 extra carbines. It used to be 6 carbines.
Yeah.
And now it's 2 carbines. And
although the single shot is now flat 3 damage also, but lost a rend. So overall, I don't rate the Gunhauler much
3
in this points setting he's in.
I found it hard to find a place for the Gunhauler. It's hard because
because the single heroes can only take 1 sky vessel, and he's also a sky vessel, so he potentially takes the space of a frigate.
Yeah,
it's awkward. The list building is very awkward. That's it. We made it 2.5 hours.
What are your, without going into too much detail, because we'll have to do another show about lists, what are your general thoughts on lists and combinations of units that you're thinking about?
Shit's expensive.
That's
my every time I write a list is.
Well, what are you building around? Are you taking frigates and balloons?
I started with frigates and balloons. I also planned an Ironclad, a frigate, some balloons, some Arkanauts. Just trying around. I played 3 or 4 games with Chaos so far. I do like having 2 frigates and a selection of balloons and Arkanauts. I like the Navigator. I'm not too sure. I think we struggle a bit with points to score easy battle tactics.
And some of the older ones are like kill an enemy hero in combat. Good. Love that.
Yeah, so we have do you think when you read the battle tactics, so take the flanks, you cannot be set up. Okay, so I need to walk there. So I need a balloon or a boat because the foot guys are way too slow.
Yeah, and you can't transport them there.
I cannot afford 2 ships running off because that's my army. basically.
No,
But it's only within 6 now, not wholly within.
Still, I'm not there
But-
where I maybe want to be. So it's a tough one. Same with the control terrain wholly in enemy territory. If I cannot, so I need to get over there. Maybe that's not where I want to go with these terrain maps. There's not many terrain pieces in enemy territory. I've struggled a bit with battle tactics and then actually controlling objectives because they're smaller, so it's harder to get onto them.
Yeah.
So you need to kill people off. You can do damage, but then if you're not careful, yeah, you lose your army very quickly. And I still think the double turn is very valuable. It is worth taking in all my games. It was worth taking the double turn. Forgo the battle tactic because you can kill so much, you can kill stuff actually with KO, and with our armies you can kill a lot in a double turn. That it doesn't matter if you table him by turn 3. You don't score
KO
that
again.
Who cares? You're gonna score another 20 points the last 2 turns.
It's that shooting phase. They can't retaliate. Kind of. KO always loved the double turn and still does because it's unlike other armies where they take the double turn and it's just more fighting back and forth. KO is I do more damage. You sit there and take it.
We also just still don't like being double turned either, though, because we like Balloon Boys. Just like you're trying to not end up in combat, but then there's 2 turns they get to move towards you, and instead of 1 is things always get in after if they get a double turn, and once they're in, it's a problem.
I mean, Max likes the frigates. I like the thunderers. It's same old.
I mean, you could put
Yeah.
thunderers in frigates.
You could 10
There's a
and
compromise
a
there.
hero.
You can.
Yeah, like thunderers and the boat having 32 cap and 4 units is more than it's ever had, and it's very nice. And you basically means with a single CP, you can redeploy your whole army essentially, which is nice as well. I like having all my eggs in one basket because I can redeploy that basket, and I can't redeploy 2 baskets if they threaten 2 boats. One of them I have to sacrifice 1, which feels bad. I have tried a combo list with a frigate and an Ironclad. Kind of, the Ironclad kind of is a big tough boat. It does just tank damage, and the frigate can kind of chip away at the edges there. But that's got plays. I like the combo of the 2. But I think I'll always be taking an Ironclad in my list.
When I've been looking at lists of frigates and with a frigate and an Ironclad, the points just end up being a bit awkward. Like you end up at like 1920 or 2030.
Or 1920, you're like, so many 2010.
Yeah. 2030 if you're trying to take Brokk, 2010 if you're taking Skywardens, or 1920.
Could Brokk be 90? Could Brokk be 280, please? 280 it would be nice. The frigate is 320. Brokk is 290. There's a 10-point gap there. I want him to be 280 so I can have him and a frigate for 600, not 610.
Yeah.
So I believe it will take us a lot of more games to actually figure out what's good and not, because we're learning the game rules, the army mechanics, and then we're trying to learn the battle plans, which are very different from each other. And we're learning what other armies are doing. But overall, it feels a bit bad that we don't have as we said, we don't have the invocations, so we don't get that play. We don't get the tricksery of casting an invocation in the enemy turn, stopping them from doing stuff. We're not as fighty as other armies because we always used to be shooty, but shooty got thrown down. So we're a bit in an awkward space and then very elite with these points. So I think success comes down to how good can you apply these movement abilities.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, some armies have already figured out exactly what is good, and it's usually cavalry. I think this is going to be the cavalry
X-rays
edition. There's not a lot of anti-cav, and it's just cavalry have all 3 wounds and do lots of damage on the charge, and they can with counter charge there is a lot more charging, and cavalry is where it's at. I think.
Yeah, that's the other army I've been playing a lot. 30 Black Knights.
Night one?
No, Soulblight. I don't have Night one. Manfred with
X-rays
30 Black Knights.
Soulblight?
No, but the Black Knights. Are the
Black
same,
Knights and Blood Knights.
Basically.
Woof.
Both are good. I think Black Knights are better because they can come back, but that's a different army show.
Chaos Knights and Vanguard and Abraxia look horrifying.
Yeah, pigs are very good. Blood Knights. Hex Rays are extremely undercosted for what they do, so they are very strong at the moment. Agrodons are good. Everything that's fast does a lot of damage, but it's still a lot of wounds that you need to get through because for some reason they put all these cavalry units up to 3 wounds, and in some cases a minimum of 4+ save. It's just 30 wounds that you need to chew through. That we don't have in our army. We have 12 wounds for the same cost on a 4+ save. Yeah, so.
Because most of those units
and Skywardens should have been 3 wounds, please. Those units.
Yeah, although I like that they are infantry keyword, because that helps with a lot of abilities. I thought they might go to like cavalry or something special. Balloon. That's good. Maybe not everything is as bad as we now say after a few games, but
they technically they have a mount. They just dangle below it.
You just get dragged along.
Yes, give the balloon force attacks, please. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Vents Aether.
Yeah. But just from reading through armies and their abilities on paper, there seems to be a benefit with other armies that we don't have. Especially, I think it's going to be a cavalry and magic. If you can reliably cast invocations, maybe with a bonus to casting.
You know what would be crazy? If you had a cavalry unit that could cast magic in an army that already casts magic and prayers and has like crit mortals and Jesus Christ, insane.
Yeah, but they're a bit glass cannon.
Comment in the chat. Jangaroo says, I feel like there is one unit missing to fill our anvil spot in the army. Just it's a 5-man 3+ save unit.
I do have one.
That exists.
Thunderers, isn't it?
It's called Thunderers.
Yes. 5-man unit, 3+ save.
2 wounds each. They are tougher than they look. They used to be even tougher with -1 to be hit. And then all our defense and other stuff.
Well,
they can be tanky.
In a boat.
Yeah, inside the boat with -1 to hit them, +1 save. And 4-up rally.
Yeah. But
we lost.
They are still it is good that you can lose 7 or 8 of them, and then that 1 or 2 will still stay in combat, tying up that enemy unit while the rest of your army can bugger off.
But I love the fumigator mortal wounds at the end.
Oh yeah, but
that was the most damage you did.
It turned Thunderers into a combat unit almost.
Yeah, it was great. Good old times. Here, look at us, long beards, grumbling about the old times. I think it's
a dwarf thing to do. It's a dwarf thing to do.
So I think we.
That'll be it for this episode.
We've covered enough without starting basically a whole other show. We'll have to come back to talk about other stuff such as lists.
Give us 1 or 2 weeks to play more games. And we'll have suggestions. Or if you have ones, please leave them in the comments. If you have questions or suggestions.
Or
for future shows.
There's a Discord, apparently.
There has been a Discord run by Sluky from Austria for many years. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Called the Skyport.
So
check it out. Check out the Facebook page
You
as
might
well.
link it in the
and the WhatsApp.
description.
It is, yeah, it's not linked in the description at the moment. I can add it. It is linked on the, if you go on the channel page and then on the banner, there's like some links. There's a link to the Discord there.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah.
Check it out. If you like the show, please hit like. Please subscribe for more KO goodness in the future. And hit the little bell thingy because that tells you when we do shows. So cool.
Yeah.
We will see you again
till
soon,
then.
Skyfarers.
See you
Bye.
soon.
Bye, everyone.